So you may notice something different this year from last year, which is thank you for the bits, which is the VOD site that I was using to aggregate my VODs no longer works for multiple reasons. Primarily because Twitch changed their API, so the method that it uses to scrape the VODs just stopped working, just wasn't going to pick up any VODs again. And also, it's just down right now for whatever reason. But given that its primary purpose cannot be served, I'm not surprised that it just doesn't exist. That also is a thing. But yeah, currently doesn't exist. Also Twitch, yes. Twitch made some changes, and nobody agrees with those changes, except for presumably the people that made those changes to begin with. So I don't know. I don't know much about it other than the fallout of it is that the VOD site that I have been using up until now will not get anything newer than February of last year. So we're going to be using Twitch's built-in interface, which is, as you see it, not great. Not great. I basically have to just go to the video tab and scroll down until I find what I'm looking for, and it's kind of a mess to search through, but it does work. I do have access to, I believe, all of my VODs. So, we're there. Elon Musk bought Twitch. Please no. Please spare me. I don't have the energy to pick this back up somewhere else again. That would be awful. Where would I go? YouTube, I guess? I would start streaming on YouTube? It's not like there are any other streaming services. Hitbox existed for a while and probably doesn't anymore. Where else do people go? Like, I don't want to give Google an even bigger monopoly. Not like any efforts on my part is going to appreciably change Google's market share. But, like, at least YouTube has better VOD handling. Anyway, that is neither here nor there. Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's 100% the way Elon does his things, which, I mean, more power to him, I guess. I find it really funny that there was like a dedicated team of people at Tesla that just managed Elon Musk so that his wild flights of fancy didn't impact the company as much as it might have otherwise. And then he rolls on into Twitter and they're like, oh, he did such a good job with Tesla. And the dedicated team is not there, so it's just full Elon all the time. Ideally, a lot less. I hear you. Absolutely. But yeah, we are here to talk about me. I mean, I guess us, but also me. I have the videos page. I also have the clips page up, which this is actually a thing that I'm a little annoyed, mostly at myself about, which is there's really not that much in the way of clips and short highlights because I have been really, really bad at doing the administrative stuff around my stream for this past year. So there's not nearly as much of the, like, you know, mood videos or like quick clips or whatever that there could be, just because I haven't been paying as much attention to that kind of stuff. And that is a thing that I would like to be better at in 2023. So that's my my latest New Year's resolution is focus a bit more and try and keep up with all the things that I want to do with the stream while I still can, to be honest. And hopefully that works out better. But yeah, so what I've done here is I've just gone to my videos page and gone as far back as the previous retrospective video. And from there, we can kind of move forward and see what else happened. I tried to do a search for just like all of the longer videos, and it definitely did not give me those in any kind of order. So that would not have worked for this purpose. But we can see this kind of as it is. And then I also have a lists Google Doc. I mean, nothing lasts forever is all I'm saying. I don't have any particularly concrete plans to stop streaming in the near future, or even to, like, pull back on streaming in the near future. But I also know that the money I have isn't going to last forever. And at some point, I will need to do something resembling normal people work in order to keep myself going. And at that point, I will not be able to stream the way that I've been streaming. So, you know, I want to sink what I can into it while I can and see if I can get, you know, see what that turns into. Not that, like, it's turned into anything appreciably different over the past few years. So, like, I'm not, you know, expecting to, like, be able to sink more time into streaming and suddenly blow up and turn it into, like, you know, a full revenue stream or anything like that. Because I'm being realistic about this, given that I've been putting time into streaming for what that's worth. And now that you've joined the world, normal people work is very overrated. Agree. Absolutely agree. Why do you think I'm still doing this, Senna? Why do you think I'm spending majority of my time online playing games for an audience? I am going to do this as long as possible. At some point I won't be able to. At some point the money will run out. But until then, I'm keeping this going. I don't do enough self-promotion. That's true. I'm not very good at self-promotion. That's one of the places where I'm not going to call it a failing, but it is a thing that I would need to be better at in order to make this more sustainable. Is what it is. Yeah. So there we go. That's where we're at. So I guess the next step is to actually get started, right? Actually start moving on and talking about what games happened at the point of this stream. Maybe engage in whatever the point of this stream actually is. And I'm already looking at, like, just looking at this window. It's like we were started this year on Shadowrun Dragonfall, which, heck of a game. My first few games of Battle of Polytopia. The beginning of the Autonauts run. This lasted for like half a year. I was just playing Autonauts, wasn't I? Like, this lasted until... We're gonna see, I guess, what it lasts until, when the last base Autonauts stream is. But it started basically the beginning of this year. And there was so much Glory for life. Glory was great. Nothing but respect for Glory. Autonauts went a bit long. Disagree. I would still be playing Autonauts if there was more stuff to do with it. There is not, so I guess I'm not playing Autonauts. But I would still be playing Autonauts if I felt like there was more things to do, more interesting things to do. Was going to be Dyson Sphere if it went much longer. Dyson Sphere is going to get an update soon. There's going to be a combat update, and we're going to start playing Dyson Sphere again. So brace yourself, Devinok. Best side quest. Glory had a good storyline. Hey, how's it going, Shouted Mage? Welcome. I definitely appreciate the storyline that Glory had. Like, I actually really appreciate how fleshed out all of the characters in Dragonfall were. Dyson Sphere was going to be Hades. Are you excited for Hades 2? I'm excited for Hades 2. Yeah, Hades is actually probably the longest running game that's been on this stream in terms of games that, like, had a regular slot for every week or every other week. I was playing Hades for, like, what, 9 months, 10 months? Something like that. Dyson Sphere went a while. Agreed as well. Hades was gonna be Heaven's Vault. Heaven's Vault was only 70 hours, Senna. Only. And it's different with evening streams, right? Because I get to dedicate more time to it. Gosh, Heaven's Vault was a good time. I wonder if I go back to it, would I be able to read it? I think not as easily as I was. But I bet it would come back to me pretty quickly. Maybe that's something I'll do for funsies offline. I'm not planning on bringing Heaven's Vault back onto stream. But, like, being able to read the language in Heaven's Vault was a skill that I liked that I had. And, you know, if I have to do, like, a refresher on it, that might be a thing that I want to do in my spare time. But yeah, so I'm not sure if Dragonfall should count, because I was midway through it at the start of the year. And I think I added it to the list for the previous year, so I'm not sure if it should count. Yep, Heaven's Vault and Hades are both your responsibility, Senna, so good job. You've done well. You've done great services for this stream. That's alright. RimWorld is Devinok's fault. So, You two can fight it out for most impactful gift if you like. Was RimWorld you? I feel like RimWorld was you, Devinok. Were there any games from you this past year? Actually, I'd have to look that up. Let me see. I don't want to do anything in that thing, but I can look up who gifted me what. I can mute this, and I can go to this section and look at the list of games that people gifted me. Oh god, this is awful. What is happening here? Stop all of this. I'll stop all of this. Inkling got me RimWorld? I believe that too. You can see the full list of games that Devinok has gifted me, which is a lot. A lot of games. Let's be real here. All the Darksiders stuff, Prison Architect, Psychonauts was Devinok's responsibility in terms of games that we played this year. Whole bunch of stuff that I haven't gotten to yet. Probably Fury or Cyberpunk is going to be next on the list of Devinok's games. Although I do want to try Stardays pretty soon. Should bring up the gifted list as you got the most time and or streams. That is a fascinating idea. I could do that too. This shows... I guess this doesn't really show who gifted me what. This shows my backlog. This isn't relevant. But, like, having this list here... Oh, so many games left unplayed. I'm not gonna give the backlog real estate today. I'm not gonna think about it. But yeah, there's been a lot of backlog. Multiplayer Zombie Ate My Neighbors. That would be a thing, for sure. Did Inkling? Yeah, Inkling did give me RimWorld. Okay. We got Timberborn from Devinok. That's good. I do want to go back to Timberborn. As soon as it gets enough of an update that I feel like it's worth going back, I want to do the other faction. They did a Timberborn update fairly recently. It was, they mostly futzed around with, like, storage and some of the automation in terms of, like, sending stuff from, different storage sites to other storage sites, like how they prioritize storage sites, which is, like, that is a change, but not, like, a huge change. So I'm waiting until we get a little bit more out of Timberborn, but, like, I definitely want to go back to it. Updates they were pushing some sponsored streams for. Ooh. Is that more recent than the storage thing? Because it felt like they thought the storage thing was a pretty big deal, and I kind of feel like it's not that big of a deal. But I definitely want to try with the Iron, whatever the name is, the other faction that's available. It feels like that's going to be a different enough game that it's probably worth going back to. And then Nwashat tends to give me a lot of stuff off of my backlog. Which, you know, generally gets played. Senna has made some very specific gifts. And Glittermancer has played games that I suspect he doesn't think are good, but wants to inflict upon me. So we've seen more than a few of those as well. Maybe 2 to 4 weeks ago. I wonder if that coincides. I'm very, very bad with time. That might coincide with the other update that it had, but I do want to go back to it. Not every game you like is my thing. It's true. Not every game you like is my thing. Shadowed Mage. The last game of yours was Forgotten City. And I don't remember whether Forgotten City was this year or the previous year. I definitely remember playing it, but I don't know when it was. That's true. That's true. But that's I think a similar case where, like, it wasn't a matter of Glittermancer knowing how good Celeste was ahead of time. It was a matter of him really wanting to see me struggle through it. And it turns out that he's been paid off for that. Like, he's used my Celeste VODs as, like, background watches or, like, introducing other people to the game. So he's definitely gotten his value out of that. That's been good. Yeah, this long list of gifted games. Yeah, I think Forgotten City was this year, so it'll come up when we start going through things. I agree with that. Yeah, Darkstar is primarily gifted me Oxygen Not Included, and then stuff that I don't particularly want to continue to play. Darkstar has a theme. We haven't gotten to Amnesia Rebirth yet, and I'm not entirely sure when that'll happen. Maybe I'll do a thing for Halloween. I feel like I should do something in October. We'll do some jump scare streams in October. Hold me to it. We're going to do some jump scare streams in October, I guess. Since I know people like it. Silent Hill 2? Isn't there like the remake or whatever for Silent Hill 2? All of October should be Spooktober? It's fair enough. It deserves the entire month. I mean, it's not like Christmas is being any less greedy with how much time it takes up. Lot of games here. Long list of games. Alright, so. You all want to be the one to gift SH2. Why? Why? What does it matter who gifts it? It still gets played. This is the remake for Silent Hill 2? Is that what's going on? I'm definitely not following, you know, the news for Silent Hill 2. PS only? Okay. When did it come out? Will it make that jump to other platforms in time for me to be able to play it for October next year? Well, this year, I guess. October 23? Bragging rights. Sure. Sure. I accept that. So yeah. So here we are. So I guess if we're looking at games that were actually new in 2022, none of these fit the bill. I had played Battle of Polytopia once before, and this is still a game that I would like enjoy going back to. But it's also one of those games that's like, I don't feel a huge rush to get back to. Like, it was fun, but also there's just like so many other things that I want to play. We could probably go back to Battle of Polytopia a little bit more often. I wouldn't be mad about that. Yeah, Dragonfall was on the list for the previous recap, so it's not gonna go on the list for this year. Tempted to give me Persona 5 Royal? Oh yeah, that would be a million hours. That would be just a lot, really a lot of hours. I think it would be fun to play through. Mershana actually is playing through it right now, and she's told me that I should play it. Among the other games that she's told me I should play. Which itself is a long list. Can I recap it without finishing it? Good question. Good question. It depends on what your definition of finishing it is. 120-ish hours for Skyrim. You were streaming that 12 hours a week. I don't think I am ready to devote 3 months of my life to Persona. Like, if you think about it, the evening streams are generally about 5 hours. Maybe I go long sometimes, but only if, you know, something like Tunic grabs my imagination. So 10 hours a week, 40 hours a month? That's like actually 3 months of just straight Persona. That's a lot of Persona. That's a lot of Persona. Only because I haven't played it yet? Maybe. I'm finding it difficult to actually keep my focus for longer games. Like, unless I'm playing them on stream and then I have, you know, some amount of accountability. But even then, like, it gets much above 40 hours and I'm like, oh, let's do something else for a bit. Unless it's something like Autonauts or RimWorld. it's oppressive to have just one game on the evening streams for too long. Yeah, it kind of is. But also, like, the way that I approach games when I'm not streaming them, I find, has also tended towards more jumping around and more ADD. Like, I picked up Fire Emblem Three Houses, and I was playing that for a bit, and I was fairly involved, like, fairly invested. And I got, you know, like, 15, 20 hours into it, and then just haven't picked it up again after that. Like, I cannot think of any real longer games that I have played off stream. Well, the Colony Sims in the afternoon streams, it's trade-offs, right? It's like, it's content for different kinds of people. And it's all the stuff that I want to play. So, which house did I go with? Yellow. Claude. Claude? Is that his name? I think it's his name. You have not played P5 yourself, but you enjoy seeing a couple of streams you regularly watch play through it. Yeah, it seems like a lot of game is my only problem with it. And I don't really like, especially for a stream, I don't really like stopping a game in the middle. Because, like, I don't think I'm going to come back to it if I stop it, is how I feel about most things. Is like, if I'm in a groove with something and then I switch gears, like, I feel like I'm just never going to come back to it. And, yeah, with the afternoon games, I am very deliberately not putting anything on more than one slot a week. Just to give, you know, a little bit more breathing room for some of the other games. Who I try to max friend. We have to max friendship with everybody. Everybody, Senna. No one will be left unfriended. That's how you play those games. Coming back after the momentum has stopped is, in fact, rough. I agree. Games in the 15 to 25 hours. Yeah. That's kind of the game range that my preference is for kind of the way that my stream is structured. And I don't know necessarily about the way that I like to play games, but I feel like that is the best fit for the kinds of games that I play on stream. Has to be a warning for games that only allow one romance option. True. Dragonfall 15 to 25 hours. Huh? That's a bold claim. That's a strong claim. How far does Dragonfall go up here? We have Dragonfall up to 50 hours-ish of Dragonfall here. Probably a little bit less than 50 hours because I know I did not have the stamina to keep streaming Dragonfall for a full stream each night. So there were definitely some of these that were shorter streams from any combination of like starting late to just not feeling like I could keep going. Actually, it looks like most of them are around like the 4.5 hour mark. So maybe not as bad. But yeah, that's a lot of hours. What a segue. If only I could ride around on Shadowrun Dragonfall. But yeah, so year started with Shadowrun Dragonfall. We have some afternoon games that are continuations of stuff that I was previously playing. So we have Autonauts, which apparently I like just started in December, and Inscription, which we got a lot of mileage out of Inscription too, right? How far up did Inscription go before I stopped playing that? 5-6 streams of Inscription? 5-ish streams of Inscription? And then also like the previous full Inscription was such a good game, man. I wish I had more reason to keep playing Inscription. Ideology apparently dropped at like mid that time. I think this is not the first Ideology stream. I think this is like the second Ideology stream. But yeah, Astalon was in fact the first full game that I played in 2022. Astalon was great though. You'd expect Dragonfall to take you about 55 hours in total. Yeah, for the text-heavy stuff, I think we have similar pacing, although you probably still take a little bit longer than me, because you are more prone to tangents than I am. Halfway into it and then promptly lost interest. That's interesting. I was so into Astalon, I was very, very ready to play more Astalon. I even did, like, New Game Plus off-stream, I think, because I wasn't sure if it was going to be interesting enough to do on-stream, and it turned out that it was different enough that I probably could have done New Game Plus on stream. It would have felt like a different enough experience. Yeah, I liked Astalon a lot. I really hope that someday somebody comes out with an Astalon randomizer, because I want an excuse to play that game some more. That game was a lot of fun. Oh, it was definitely hard. Absolutely. But I really, really liked it. I don't know. Maybe this is just, like, nostalgia talking, but I feel like I had a really, really good time with Astalon. I felt like it was put really well together. Ideology was tough because we're still on the Randy Ruff only games. Yeah, well, I mean, for the most part, that's how I want to play RimWorld. Like, I want RimWorld to be a little bit more punishing than the default difficulties. Like, I think Cassandra eventually gets there, but, like, my first real RimWorld attempt ended in a victory, which is like, I want this game to be harder than that. I need to know what I'm doing and be able to deal with rougher things. I mean, that said, there's a difference between normal Cassandra and Randy Ruff, right? I'm sure there's an intermediate difficulty that I could probably take on. But I do feel like I got my value out of Ideology. I don't feel like there was too much that I wasn't able to do in Ideology. 45 hours of Dragonfall. Twitch Tracker. What is Twitch Tracker? 45 hours of Dragonfall sounds about right. Twitch Tracker. Okay, I'm opening this thing, whatever this thing is. Stream time distribution. Neat. List of games streamed by Jim the Eternal. Yep. 350 hours of RimWorld. Oh, neat. Oh my god, this is gonna be a lot, isn't it? Cult Sim still very far up there. Okay, okay. Oh, it's got followers per hour? For the game streamed? Wow. That is a hell of a metric. Okay, yeah, let's look at just this year. Lots of They Are Billions, lots of Autonauts, lots of Rogue Legacy, a lot of Tunic. There's going to be more Tunic, don't you worry. Number 1 on followers per hour. That's a good question, actually. What remains of Edith Finch? Apparently, because it was a short game and got a lot of followers. Factorio is lies. This is actual lies, because there was one day where Twitch just started giving me random follows, and I got like 50 follows over the course of like a 3-hour Factorio stream. None of those people showed up in chat. None of those people were real. It's just, I think there was some kind of feature where for new accounts that were generated, they were, you listed like favorite games, and they followed people who were streaming that game seemingly at random. And because there weren't that many people streaming Factorio that day, it just gave me a ton of random follows that made absolutely no sense. Dwarf Fortress, my one Dwarf Fortress stream apparently got me like 4 follows out of the 5 hours, so that's good. Per metric, this is not a meaningful number. I cannot reasonably look at this number and gain any value out of it, not with the way my stream is structured. But this is very funny. Yep, same with Fantasy Strike. The first time I streamed Fantasy Strike, a bunch of people from the Fantasy Strike community came and dropped follows. And, Very interesting. Okay, yeah, completely irrelevant though. Back to stream time for 2022. 0.2 hours streamed under the category of social eating. 6 follows per hour. Wow. Super hot, clearly inferior to What Remains of Edith Finch. You can make that claim if you want. Max viewers. Max viewers could potentially be an interesting thing. Max viewers maybe not as much as average viewers, but I think average viewers is going to tend to hold fairly steady. You know what? You're right. It's a bigger number. What are you supposed to do? Bigger numbers are bigger numbers. That's math. $80 hours of Autonauts, 75 hours of Rogue Legacy, 60 hours of RimWorld this year, 60 hours of Potionomics this year. Potionomics definitely took its, maybe even more than its fair share of stream time. But that was fun. I'm glad we went through it, even if it was dragging a little at the end. Chunk of Slay the Spire, decent chunk of Peglin. There's going to be more Peglin. Peglin also very popular. Like, this was something that I noticed, even just while streaming it, is Peglin brought people out of the woodwork. That does include Downfall. Yeah, there's a bunch of people who are like very interested in Peglin and pretty much only Peglin that that would show up for Peglin streams and not for anything else. So some amount of incentive to stream Peglin. Hello, Tiff. I'm glad you're here. Peglin is very good. You gifted it last week and now you're on Crucible 7. Excellent. That's good. I appreciate your dedication. We can see Shadowrun Hong Kong here was 40 hours. Less than Downfall. I'm okay with that. Wow, this is interesting. This is, in fact, an interesting thing. Maybe I'll come back to this. Bombs are life. I respect bombs. Respect. Teardown or Trombone Champ or Frog Detective? Frog Detective? Do I know what Frog Detective is? I don't think I know what Frog Detective is. I've streamed 0 hours of both Teardown and Trombone Champ, unfortunately. I'm not, like, opposed to Teardown. I'm mildly opposed to Trombone Champ. But yeah, Astalon. Alright, so Astalon is the first game that goes on the list. Whoop. Should have not done that. We got a list. Astalon exists on the list. Trombone Champ is amazing. I feel like Trombone Champ would be interesting for a little bit, and then would quickly become a lot less interesting. Yeah, the red cherry bombs are great. I agree. fully agree. It's 3 of them. That's what it sounds like. I don't know anything about Frog Detective, but that's neat. We've got some They Are Billions here. Did I start They Are Billions in December, or did I start They Are Billions? I guess my first They Are Billions stream would have been like December or November of 2021. So it doesn't count. Off the list. Even though I mostly streamed it this year. Maybe it is on the list. I don't know. I'm not sure how to think about like the afternoon games that I played over a long period of time that cross over the date line. Like, should those count or should those not count? Someone you know is not fully committed to Peglin Bomb Life. Well, Some people make mistakes, and all you can do is try and guide them back onto the right path, you know? People are allowed to make their own decisions for themselves. I guess, like, with all of the Autonauts I played this year, Autonauts should count, right? Some of this stuff should count. They are billions. I really liked They Are Billions. You might notice a past tense in that phrase. Since I haven't gone back to it for like a month and a half, because I've been dreading further attempts on that stupid, what are those things? The giant mutants. There's like that one mission that has like 30 giant mutants as the final wave. And I lost to it enough times that I'm like demoralized enough that I don't want to go back to it. I should go back to it. I think They Are Billions is still a good game. I just wish I could beat that one level. The brutal waste of time on map losses turns you off. Yeah, the other thing is, like, I could just go play survival mode, right? Like, it doesn't have to be 3 hours of time wasted on campaign in order to lose and then not be able to come back to it. We'd almost figured out a way to save scum, right? It was not reliable, but it was something. I don't know. There was also the, like, fear that I had permanently corrupted my entire save by doing it. So maybe that's not a thing I want to spend too much time on. But, like, survival mode is probably a lot of fun also. And I don't know how different an experience survival mode is from the campaign. But that feels like a thing that I should try at least once or twice, right? I should probably go back to They Are Billions. All right. I'm putting They Are Billions on my make sure to go back to this list. You can be bolded. What am I doing here? Except this doesn't need to be huge. It can be smaller. All right. They Are Billions are on my revisits list because I am definitely going to review this list. RimWorld we're still playing. That's no surprise there. There is more DLC. There is more RimWorld. We've played a lot of RimWorld this year. We played a lot of Autonauts. I really, really liked Autonauts. I liked the way that Autonauts lets you optimize. Like, I just really appreciated the gameplay loop of Autonauts. It felt very satisfying, very rewarding. Being able to tell a robot to do something and then that thing would just be done all the time forever. And maybe you need to scale up from that, but like with the quality of life changes they introduced, that made it a lot easier to scale up. Like a lot easier. All the quality of life that they introduced with pirate bots that they eventually backported to the base game, like the process of getting an industry up and running was so much easier. Much replayability there kind of wasn't. Yes, I agree with that, Garrett. They not recently. When they did like the big quality of life update, I think around the same time, they changed the default goal to something easier. They had like they have, I think, 2 other game modes now that are sort of designed to ease you into the idea. And then Enlightenment, which is the goal that we achieved, is still like the sort of top end, like, if you have all the time in the world and really like the game, go into this mode and do the thing. which, you know, I do and I do. So it's a good thing that that was what we ended up playing. It's kind of a good thing that that was the default mode for me, because that was the mode that I was most likely to enjoy playing anyway. Shocked that I haven't included Dragonfall in my best of 2022 list. New list category. All right, I'm listening. I'm paying attention. Make your offer. Dyson Sphere still here. How long did Dyson Sphere go? I'm going to look at this list again. How much Dyson Sphere did I play? Overall time. 117 hours of Dyson Sphere. Games we're most grateful we didn't have to watch in 2022. Like, bullets that we dodged by not having played them anymore. Scraping is prohibited. It overloads the servers. Huh. It's a good thing they built an API then. Click the game name, it'll break down the streams for you. Really? Yeah, okay. Neat. What is this? Why is this information only available here? This is like viewer count? Oh, because this is when I played it. Okay, because I was only playing it then. I wasn't playing it back in, 2017. Sure. Okay. Yeah, all right. Fascinating. Is the Breakaway 2022 classic Astlibra? No. Crossing Souls. Yeah, I am glad also that there was not any more Crossing Souls than what was actually played. Astalon was fantastic though. Some Monster Train. Monster Train's still coming back every once in a while. Monster Train's still around. And Psychonauts 2. Yeah, 6 streams of Psychonauts 2. That was the next game after Astalon, was Psychonauts 2. Psychonauts 2 was a lot of fun. God, this game was so good. Sort of the same 3 letters as Astalon. Oh yeah, that definitely means it's good. I understand. I'm very grateful to Devonok that Psychonauts 2 made it onto my list. Psychonauts 2 was an entire game. It really was. It was the whole package. Game that must not be named. That was forever ago. Why are we still talking about that? Let that trauma stay in the past. Why do you want to stir that up again? What is it doing here? Why is it like messing up the previews sometimes? Man, Psychonauts 2 was great. I really, really liked Psychonauts 2. I was impressed, actually, with the writing in Psychonauts 2. And, like, the gameplay for Psychonauts 2 was definitely Psychonauts gameplay, right? There's a lot of jumping around and a lot of, that could very well be GV. That wouldn't surprise me. That was a game that brought in a lot of people. Witness brought in a lot of people. Talos Principle brought in a lot of people in terms of like people that stuck around, people that were regulars. Could have been any of those. It's certainly been a while though. I mean, if you do, like, I have a follow age command or whatever, so you might be able to track down the exact stream that you followed on. But I'll leave that to you. Talos brought you? Yep. Oh, is it gonna let you all do that? I think there's an internal cooldown on it, like 5 seconds or something. But also, I think if you click on your own name in the chat window, it'll say when you've been following since. But I guess it's not quite as precise. It's just a day. instead of this amount of time thing. Almost 7 years. Yup, almost. It's been a while. Man, Psychonauts. My sympathies, GB. The thing is, most of my regulars, I think this is true, most of my regulars are the people who have been around since almost the very beginning. Since, like, before I got affiliate. Those are the people that are still here. And then there's other people who have joined since then and become regulars, but I think not as many as the people who sort of found me very early on and then stuck with me. Many of whom are people I know in real life. It doesn't, like, I'm so sorry, Fail Snail. I don't know what to tell you. Which explains why they've stuck with me as long as they have. But, like, yeah, on any given day, it's probably like 60 to 70% people who have been following me for longer than 4 or 5 years. And then some people who are, like, there for that stream, or have at some point in the interim joined up and decided they liked the place and stuck around, or like that particular game, or whatever. Follow during a VOD replay stream. Oh, there was one GDQ that I went to where I queued up the entirety of my Witness playthrough and had that play as a rerun. Oh, Tiff, have you really been around for that long? When did you... Because I only remember seeing your name within, like, the past year. When did you follow me? Yeah, Senna definitely joined during... Or, not Senna, Shouted Mage. Shouted Mage definitely joined during Talos Principle. I remember that. Followed you after an AGDQ, a live one where we played board games. Yep, that sounds about right. 5 a.m. your time. Okay, yes. I agree that is a little bit harder to engage in. I definitely miss going to GDQs and playing board games. I would like to make it out to SGDQ this year. And I hope that I have the courage to make it out. Because that's really what it's down to right now, is like the courage to re-enter society on that kind of level and go to an actual con despite the risks of it. So, current plan, I would like to do it, but I don't know if it'll happen. You followed on the same day as Senna? Did you really? That's pretty impressive, actually. Good job. Mark Majors has been around for about 4 years. Yeah, there's like there's the 5 or 6 year club, and then there's the 4 year club, and then there's other people. It's definitely kind of boggling that people have been around for that long. Well, it really doesn't like you, GV. I don't know why it's being so bad about giving you the command. You're other people. You have a sword, Inkling. There's only so much other people you could be. This thing, why is it doing this thing? Where it's like slowly ticking up instead of actually going through the... So weird. Twitch is being weird today. Limited data on streams with less than a handful of viewers. That checks out, unfortunately. I have to wonder when my stream jumped that particular shark. Like, when did I go from limited numbers of viewers to enough viewers that there's data on it? Three years, 11 months, in 28 days or so, you'll no longer be on the wheel. Congratulations, GV. Congratulations. Stream for yourself days are just gone. I mean, you still have the VODs, right? But yeah, it's a little unfortunate that Twitch Tracker doesn't have the data for it. Only goes back to 2016. Yeah, it's really sad that some of this data just disappears. Like, Twitch keeps whatever VODs it keeps, but like the other sites that it's really a shame that that information just isn't available on a regular basis. Pretty sure your VODs are still gone after 30-60 days. That's why I highlight everything. Like, all of this stuff is not just the default Twitch VODs. This is me making highlights of the entire stream so that it's kept. Like, I have to deliberately go back and make that highlight in order for the stream to be kept. Because otherwise it would be 60 days and then it would just disappear. But I really appreciate having my backlog to be able to go through. So if, if somebody asks, hey, if you streamed this, I could be like, yes, here was the link to that video. You don't have the energy for that. This is where my problem comes in, Cryptomancer. This is why I don't have like any of the snappier highlights, like the clips and everything. Like, I have been really, really bad at making short highlights and clips and reviewing VODs and doing that kind of stuff. One simple trick to saving your VODs. Yeah, I'm costing Twitch so much in terms of storage. But yeah, Psychonauts. As much as I like Astalon, I think objectively Psychonauts is a better game than Astalon. But I think it's close. And they are obviously better for different reasons, right? Like, Psychonauts is a game that I appreciate for the dialogue and the writing. And Astalon is a game that I appreciate more for the gameplay and the interactions of mechanics. Whereas the actual gameplay part of Psychonauts 2 is maybe less interesting. Yeah, I'm never gonna forget that one bit, Devinok. That's like seared into my memory. That was such, like, the entirety of that scene and also that particular exchange was so good. We're doing a worst of list if I have to. If I have to. I will if I have to. Presumably that's here, right? Like, if I look at the clips that I have, I should have a clip of Psychonauts 2 here somewhere that has that. Okay, so presumably I have made an actual highlight of it. Presumably. Made some Astalon highlights. Somewhere here, there should be, like, a highlight of that thing? I'm kind of surprised that there's not. I remember going back and making a highlight of it. If I didn't make a highlight of it, there should be a clip of it. I'm not seeing a clip of it either. Unless I went back and clipped it way later. But it doesn't look like it got clipped. Which seems very odd to me. Well, whatever. Actually, I can try one more time. I can try this. And it doesn't show anything. Okay. It just shows, like, the full things. I would swear that I had a clip or something of that, but alright, whatever. We can come back to it. You know exactly what it means? Wow, I really don't remember what that means. I wonder how much of La Mulana has been repressed now. How much of my memory of La Mulana is just gone. Oh, where is Kitty Bard? Man, I haven't seen Kitty Bard in forever. I don't think she's even streaming anymore. Really appreciate her enthusiasm for La Mulana. Ah, man. Ancient history at this point. La Mulana randomizer? No. Spare me. Spare me. Like other traumas. There have been many traumas on this stream. Yeah, actually, I have heard pretty good things about the La Mulana randomizer. Like, it wouldn't surprise me to know that it's actually a decent experience. The problem is how much of La Mulana I would have to internalize in order to be able to play it. And I'm just not ready to devote that kind of time and energy to that game. Just really not. Like, if I was going to pick up a new randomizer right now, La Mulana would not be the randomizer that it would be. It would be either something that's in Archipelago, or it would be Symphony of the Night. The most traumatic game? Crossing Souls is pretty close. Crossing Souls is probably it. That is also a game that I'm not grateful to have played, but somewhat grateful to have given other people the experience they needed so that they knew not to play it, right? Jumping on that grenade. La Mulana trauma should be added. Yes, I am. Crosscode DLC? I should go back to Crosscode. There is more Crosscode content. I never did play the DLC. I had a lot of fun with Crosscode. That game was great. See, that reaction, Mark Mages, is exactly why I am not interested in playing the La Mulana randomizer. Alright, so am I tracking afternoon games too? I guess I'll put afternoon games on the list. I don't necessarily know that I have like an ordering for my afternoon games, because the fact that I have sunk 50 or 60 hours into them means that I probably liked them. But like, maybe afternoon games can be an an unsorted list. You were more traumatized by Never-Ending Dyson Sphere than you were by Crossing Souls. Impressive. Yeah. I mean, La Mulana is at its core a Metroidvania, right? And I understand that. Once you're no longer trying to solve puzzles, but just applying your knowledge, it feels like a very different game, I'm sure. But at the same time, like, if I am playing a game like that for its mechanics, La Mulana is not going to be the game that I play. Like, let's be real here. I'm playing Hollow Knight because Hollow Knight is a joy to play. And La Mulana is a struggle to play. Like, I just really appreciate the kind of movement tech that you get in games like Hollow Knight. And being able to run around and, like, beat up on bosses and stuff like that in Hollow Knight is just a fun experience. Even when it's not new, it's still, like, satisfying. And I don't know that anything I did in La Mulana was satisfying. I guess, like, the occasional puzzle I figured out was like, wow, I'm glad I figured that out. But for the most part, La Mulana was a struggle. I mean, if that's how you feel about Tunic, then that's how you feel about Tunic, Mark Magus. But that is also a situation where I kind of disagree with you. Like, I really like just spending additional time in that world. And I also really like the combat. Like, I've really enjoyed kind of trying to do combat in Tunic. trying to do combat in Tunic. The combat, I think, flows really well. So that's part of the reason that I go back to it, is it's not just, you no longer like hummus? I'm so sorry. I understand that hummus is a good experience for a lot of people. Sigh of relief, kind of. That is true. The haikus for La Mulana were pretty cool. I do appreciate the kind of interaction I got with chat as a result of La Mulana. We really came together as a community and accomplished something. Almost flows really well, sure. I mean, that's the other thing, is the Tunic randomizer does require you to have a lot of knowledge. Like, I have multiple cheat sheets in order to be able to play the Tunic randomizer. Side effect of second puberty? Oh! That never occurred to me that that could happen. That it would, like, change your tastes in that respect. I suppose it makes some amount of sense. You've got all kinds of crazy hormones in your body or whatever. Lama Lana Rando, if chat was around to remind you of puzzle solutions. If chat was around to give me haikus. Maybe. But alright, starting the unordered list of afternoon games that I played this year, regardless of whether they were new. Where's the cutoff? Here. So still a fair amount of Dyson Sphere this year. So we have Dyson Sphere with appropriate capitalization. Is it program or project? Why do I never remember this? Program. Autonauts. Casey's mod. What else was here? RimWorld? RimWorld. No, you were right. Battle of Polytopia. Should I order this? Should I try and order this? I don't think I should try and order this. Haven was very beautiful. I'll give you that. Haven was good. Was a good watch. Suddenly liking pickles. Wow. Order it later? Fair enough. Pickles are delicious? I'm not going to judge you for it, because I think that is a common opinion, but it is one I disagree with. Definitely They Are Billions. They Are Billions is absolutely a game that is on this list. Make your own pickles? Who do you take me for? Somebody that knows anything about food preparation? Apparently Monster Train is on this list? Yeah, alright, I've played Monster Train this year. Monster Train's still very good. Monster Train's still a very good game. I should be playing more Monster Train. I mean, I kind of want to play, like, if I'm going to play a random deck builder right now, I think it's still Vault of the Void, but Monster Train's very close. Master food trucks. Yeah. All right, I can't argue with that. I've certainly done my fair share of food trucking. More Autonauts, and then Murder by Numbers. Murder by Numbers was at the start of this year. Murder by Numbers was a fantastic game. Murder by Numbers was a great ride. It is still third on this list. I did, in fact, do some Inscription. Casey's mod is here. Some Inscription did, in fact, occur. Yes, I will put Murder by Numbers behind Astalon. Two very different games, two very different kinds of experiences. I appreciated the mechanical experiences I got out of Astalon more than I appreciated the narrative experiences I got out of Murder by Numbers. Absolutely a personal decision, and not at all that easy to make that kind of comparison, since, like, Astalon's story was, I'm gonna say, the pits, not very good at all. The other thing is, like, the puzzles in Murder by Numbers weren't particularly involved, and I kind of wish there was, I kind of wish there was more Picross in Murder by Numbers. But yeah, the narrative in Murder by Numbers was fantastic. Very, very good. Astalon's story was present, yes. In some cases. Astalon's story was not always present, I'm afraid. But definitely in some cases, Astalon's story did exist. Which is about all that you can say for it. Like, if we're going to talk about the writing in Astalon... Hang on. If we're going to talk about the writing in Astalon, I have to show you... We have to replay this clip. Some say those knights were so versed in the ways of the monsters that they became monsters themselves! Yep, I have this game's aesthetic on lock. So that's as much as I feel like I need to say about Astalon's story. I don't really feel like I need to say too much more than that. But yes, I have that clip for a reason. Make that your ringtone. I love it. How would I rate the Picross novel genre overall? I think it does a good job of breaking up the visual novel part of the game with the puzzle solving part of the game. And I appreciate that it has both elements. If it was just visual novel the entire way through, personally, that's a thing that I get tired of. That is a thing that I can only handle for so long. And breaking it up with the puzzle stuff definitely helps me enjoy that game. I think I think overall, good. I'm in favor of Picross novels existing. Or rather, I'm in favor of visual novels with some gameplay existing. And that gameplay needs to be more than, like, picking dialogue options. that was a really good clip too, Garrett. Tunic brought me a lot of joy. That thing specifically, among other things. I will say Murder by Numbers has the best opening sequence out of any game I played this year. 100%. Not even a contest. You'd like another Long Live the Queen with some quality of life stuff to make the stat side stuff less tedious. Long Live the Queen was fun. I think that's probably a game that I didn't play as much as I could have. I enjoyed what I played of it, and I felt like I kind of wanted to see more of it than I did. But I also got to a point where, like, I got deep enough into the game that after that point it felt like things were the same no matter what I did leading up to it, which was a little bit disappointing. But I probably should have played it a little bit more. The Saturday morning cartoon opener? Yeah. It's just such a good theme song. Such a good theme song. More games need theme songs. It feels like a lot of the variation was early on, Dark Twinge. And maybe this is an incorrect impression, but this was my impression, was that there was a lot of variation early on. And then once you got past a certain point, things proceeded mostly the same way. And it was just a matter of, did you succeed or fail? And a failure at that point was a game over. And a success at that point was, now you can move on to the next part of the story. And like earlier on, there was a ton of variation, right? You could make different decisions. Your successes or failures tended to lead you in different story directions, which I really, really like. Like, I thought that was super cool. But yeah, that was my impression of the game. Maybe I just wanted it to be longer. That might have been it. Is I might have just wanted it to be longer. Like, I felt like it ended too soon for me to feel like I was getting my full enjoyment out of it. I don't know what Signs of the Sojourner is. Harder to fall into by accident. That's the other thing, is like, if the variety at the end of the game is based on really esoteric decisions early on, like one particular thing that you did in this way or that way, and then survived to the end to see the result. Because like, I feel like I went through a lot of the early game variety, but very little of that early game variety got me to a point where I survived long enough to see the full outcome of it. So I'm sure there's a ton of endgame stuff that I missed just because my time spent going down the path that was required for that endgame stuff was time spent in a dead end. Because I just died in, week 11 or whatever, after having done whatever things were necessary, and then not ever really trying to complete a run with having done those things once I got to the point where I could reliably complete a run. Speaking of failures take you in different story directions, that's very interesting. That's certainly a thing that I would be interested in checking out. Big complaint of Long Live the Queen is the history stats. I don't think I know what you're talking about. What about the history stats bothered you? Not that I even... When you say history stats, what does that mean, actually? I don't think I know what you're talking about there. More Dyson Sphere, more RimWorld. Oh, all of the various, like, random lore stats? Inscription was not this year. Casey's mod was this year. Inscription was last year. And I know I even played it, like, pretty far after it came out. Like, I didn't play it immediately. But Casey's mod, I was kind of, like, as it was coming out, I was playing it. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, that would have been... I think there started being Casey's mod content around December of last year. December of 2021, rather. I can't say last year, can I? December of 2021, I think. The history checks give important context to what is happening and are required for understanding the narrative and making informed decisions. Ah. Yeah, okay. So you have to have all of that information, and then once you have that information, you can make an informed choice, but you kind of can't both have that information and have the ability to make that choice in the same run, because of the way Long Live the Queen's stats work. Yup. That's very interesting. I hadn't actually thought of it in that particular way, but you're right. It felt like you could gain a lot of value by having a deliberately dead-ended run that just gave you a lot of information about the way the world works, so that in a future run, you could make appropriate decisions. And I think that's kind of a thing that I was trying to do, was build not exactly a database, but like a narrative tree of like, this decision leads you to these locations. But I guess if I didn't go too deeply in any of the lore stats, and so there might very well have been decisions that I never knew I could make because I never really had the right lore at the right time. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Massive amount of wiggle room if you really know what you're doing. Yeah, that takes a lot of runs, man. It took a lot of time to get anywhere near to the level of feeling like I actually could reliably get to the end. And once I got to that point, I was like, okay, well, I feel like I'm as done with the game as I want to be. And seeing more stuff at this point would be possible, but also be like kind of tedious. Some more of all the things that I've been playing this year. We played some Across the Obelisk this year. I haven't gone back to Across the Obelisk in a long time either. Across the Obelisk was fun. That's a game I could come back to. I wouldn't mind seeing more Across the Obelisk. Maybe try playing for real. The problem with Across the Obelisk was always just how long it took to get started in that game and being able to fit a full run in a single stream. I felt like it always just went long. A lot of history and magic. You failed the last check because you needed either sword fighting or decoration. Yep, that sounds about right. That sounds like a Long Live the Queen list of stats that you might need. Yeah, I think I remember what you're talking about, Dark Twinge. I agree. And then Tunic happened. 9 months ago, Tunic happened. April 4th. This is probably April 3rd, actually, would have been my first Tunic stream, which was probably about a week after release. And Tunic continues to be one of the best things that's ever happened to me. I really liked Tunic. I mean, I'm sure everybody here knows just how much I liked Tunic, but wow, did I really like Tunic. We did the entire run making all the same decisions, but this time you had decorations. Yeah, that was the kind of thing that I didn't really like about Long Live the Queen, because that was a lot of work to get back up to the place where you made the mistake and then have the thing that you needed for it. Like, I tended to die in Long Live the Queen and then be like, okay, that was interesting. Let's do something completely different. Without doing that, studying for the first 3 quarters of the game, you felt like a clueless 10-year-old girl. Yup. I mean, understandable. There's even autosaves. Oh, okay. Not what you're playing games for. Yes. Yes, I understand. Oh, shoutouts to M Duo, by the way, for making that emote for me. Not that it was like very hard to make, but I appreciate that somebody had the energy and the initiative to actually make it, as opposed to me just sitting here being like, man, that'd be a really cool emote. But yeah, Tunic. It's going to be very difficult for any game to unseat Tunic for Game of the Year for me. Like, Tunic was just firing on all cylinders. Everything about Tunic was where I wanted to be. The aesthetic was great. I loved the controls and the movement. The combat was a lot of fun. I really liked the difficulty levels of the bosses. Air was maybe a little hard, but... And then the secrets and the exploration and the in-game language and all of it was just everything I want out of a game experience. If anybody ever makes a game that is Tunic inspired, please let me know. Because that is where I want to be. That is the game I want to play. Tunic was fun to watch? Good. Good, I'm glad. I'm glad other people got something out of it too. I mean, the fact that I'm still doing Tunic randomizer streams should say something about how much I like Tunic, but yeah, really like Tunic. Or Heaven's Vault inspired, yep. Love Tunic so much you started playing Fez again. I've already done Fez on stream once, and it was a replay, and I don't really feel the need to replay Fez again. Although, you know what game I'm thinking about replaying on stream, now that it's been forever since I actually played it, is Environmental Station Alpha. If you're not familiar with Environmental Station Alpha, give it a Google. The graphics are nothing to write home about. It is very kind of like middle ground between 8-bit and 16-bit. But it also had in-game language. It also had a bunch of really cool hidden stuff. And the mechanics, while not quite as smooth as some of the other Metroidvanias I've played, are still really good. And the boss fights, personally, I felt were really, really rewarding. It's a slog? Cool. I don't know about slog. Trying to blind Tunic and you mostly succeeded? Excellent. Good, 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 good. Less slick Axiom Verge, I agree. Better than Axiom Verge. I think I might agree with that too. Whatever you need to tell yourself, Tiff. So I'm actually thinking of bringing ESA onto the stream as a replay to see how much of it I remember, and to also go through like all of the stuff. I think I did everything the first time I played through it, but it's been long enough that I don't remember. And I definitely enjoyed ESA. I played ESA basically around the same time that I played Fez, and I felt like I got similar value out of it. So that might be a revisit that I do. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. For the most part, I want my stream to still be first plays, but ESA might be one of them. ESA might be a game I come back to. It absolutely is high praise. I have almost exclusively good things to say about Environmental Station Alpha. There's definitely some things in that game that are obtuse, and the difficulty level of the DLC stuff for ESA was probably a bigger jump than was necessary. Pressing buttons, Inkling? But overall, I think ESA was great. I think this is the first time that's actually happened, which is pretty impressive over the however many years I've been doing this. Yeah, ESA. The new button is there a new button? Do I know about this button? I don't remember seeing this button. That is actually a really cool button that it does all of those things at once. That's really cool. I didn't actually know this moderation option existed. Shield got added about a month ago. Neat. Where was I? We're talking about Environmental Station Alpha. Oh, because we were talking about Fez. Because we were talking about Tunic. Yeah, all right. Great. Yeah, I don't think I need to say too much more about Tunic. I think everything I need to say about Tunic has already been said. I'm sure I've said it all multiple times by now. But yeah, Tunic was just almost everything I would have wanted. Thank you, Inkling. Thank you for the continued support. Thank you for the generosity. And congratulations to Fail Snail. I hope you appreciate the fantastic emotes you now have access to. I'm making up for your clicks. All right, I'll take it. Don't feel like you have to do this, but I appreciate it. Yo, Mark Mages, thank you as well for the continued support. And welcome back to the Adventuring Party. Happy to have you around. Tunic, very good. Apparently we did some Bloodstained. We did the Bloodstained revisit with Aurora because there was the Child of Light crossover with Bloodstained. What a weird thing to have in Bloodstained. What an extremely weird thing to do. Bloodstained had some of the weirdest crossovers. Like, finding out that Bloodstained had a crossover with Blasphemous. And then this crossover with Child of Light specifically. I think more recently they had another crossover with something else. I don't remember what. Very weird. Just extremely weird. Not as weird as the Bloodstained crossover in Blasphemous. Also true. Also true. Bloodstained. Cool. Kingdom Two Crowns. Is that what the new... There was an update that went out for Bloodstained that added an entirely new section to the game. And I haven't played it, so I don't know exactly what happened in there or as a result of it. But yeah, apparently there's more Bloodstained stuff that I may or may not ever see. May or may not ever go back to Bloodstained. I am waiting, not like with bated breath, but I guess for somebody to draw my attention to a full-fledged restructuring of the Bloodstained randomizer. And I know there's never going to be any more official support for the randomizer than there already was. But if somebody modding the game went in and fixed things, I think the Bloodstained randomizer would be really, really fun to go back to. Didn't they say that they were go for Bloodstained 2? Ooh, are they? Cool. I'd play that. Like the vanilla experience for Bloodstained was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I'm still hoping for a better randomizer than the one they have, but like I know that they're never going to put that out. And I don't know if there's enough support in the community for somebody to go modding it and making it better. One can hope, I suppose. Something about an unofficial randomizer being worked on. And this is the thing, is like I'm not paying attention, right? So it could have already happened and I don't know about it. I would need somebody else to bring it to my attention in order for me to have any information about it. But yeah, that'd be great. I would love it if that happened. Because I had a lot of fun with Bloodstained, and I would have more fun playing more Bloodstained if it was a decent experience. Absolutely, yeah, 100%. Get me more information on that. It's definitely a thing that I would be streaming, if it was a better experience. Like there was enough problems with the Bloodstained randomizer as it was made that after streaming it a few times, I kind of couldn't really find it within myself to keep giving it more space. Like there's just other stuff that, as much fun as playing Bloodstained is, there's enough problems with the randomizer that it's like tough to go back to. Horrible to listen to. Well, you don't like the EU guy? But yeah, if given enough impetus, I would absolutely go back to Bloodstained. Down in Bermuda. Do y'all remember this? This was fun. It was short, which is something that I appreciate. And there wasn't like a lot to it. Yeah, it was a lot of hidden object game is what it was. It's in kind of the same category for me as Agent A in terms of like cute aesthetic and enough puzzles to keep you moving from place to place, but not like anything particularly difficult. I had a good time with that. I think it was a solid game of its type. But definitely lower on the list than some of the other things that I have played this year. Weird paper bird puzzles. Was that down in Bermuda? Might have been. Paper bird puzzles. That doesn't ring any particular bells. Like origami? Like... What is a paper bird in this context? So still all of the same afternoon games, still Autonauts and RimWorld and Dyson Sphere. Which, you know, respect. We just don't, I guess we just don't know, yeah. What you can do about it. And then Vigil happened. Vigil feels like it shares a lot of DNA with Blasphemous, actually. I think that was my first impression of Blasphemous, was like, wow, this feels a lot like Vigil. Vigil was pretty good. Vigil, I think, was not something I would write home about. I think Blasphemous actually is better than Vigil. Vigil's mechanics were just a little too chunky. Soulsvania games trying to be all HK. And none of them could really be Hollow Knight, can they? Blasphemous is not Hollow Knight either. But I think Blasphemous was better than Vigil. Vigil wasn't bad. It was kind of bad. Would not be the first Metroidvania I recommend to people who want to play Metroidvanias. I think it is... Was it The Longest Night? Is that what the subtitle was? I think it's better than Down in Bermuda is maybe really a subjective judgment, just because the games are two completely different things. I think I got more out of Vigil than I got out of Down in Bermuda. But, like, Down in Bermuda is, like, a spot-on, like, solid B+ to A- experience in the genre that it is. But that genre is, like, light, it's fluffy, and it's not the kind of thing that I seek out on a regular basis. Vigil had the Metroid problem of not enough goddamn direction. Accurate. Soulsvania is an okay name for a genre. Why not just call them HK likes? I mean, I'm okay with that too. They could be Hollow Knight likes. Oh, they should just be Saltvanias, is what they should be. I haven't played Salt and Sanctuary, and I know there's a sequel, Salt and Sacrifice. I haven't played either of those. Hollow Light. No. What a cursed description. Salt likes. Yep, I agree with that. Rogue is an Apple Manor like. I actually don't know anything about Apple Manor. Maybe that's a thing I should look up. Is that does it hold up? I mean, Rogue barely holds up. So I don't know that anything that Rogue is based off of is going to be a good experience. But but yeah, for all that Vigil is not like a shining beacon of Metroidvania, I think I will put any non-terrible Metroidvania above Down in Bermuda just because of the kinds of experiences that I'm looking for in games. Beneath the Apple Manor is the first roguelike. Worse than Rogue and not worth playing outside of its historical note. That sounds about right. It sounds fully believable. Vigil. Remember that boat? Remember trying to navigate that boat? Kind of a problem, this game. Vigil certainly had its fair share of problems. Oh, my first Downfall stream 8 months ago. Downfall, a good time? Thumbs up for Downfall? Downfall goes on the list of things that I did in afternoon streams. Along with the Hollow Knight randomizer? The best fan mod you've ever played. Downfall is a fantastic mod. Absolutely. A lot of work clearly went into it. Very impressively like put together and surprisingly well balanced for a fan mod. And all of the different mechanics. I mean, they're all just orbs. But like they do a good job of having different flavor. Which is really cool. I very much appreciate what Downfall was doing. Absolutely. Vigil, Rimworld, they are billions. Autonauts, yup. Some Magic the Gathering Arena, which we may eventually ever come back to. Playing more Magic on stream. Not the kind of thing I do very often, but every once in a while. Donut County, right? Donut County, also a game. surprisingly, like, puzzle-oriented for a game of this type. Like, essentially Katamari Damacy. But, like, with some amount of actual problem-solving in the game, that was kind of impressive. Same designer as Neon White? Really? I was not aware. Donut County was a good time, absolutely. Better than Vigil. Probably not better than Murder by Numbers. I don't think I could put Donut County above Murder by Numbers. But Donut County was a good time. And I very much appreciated both its aesthetic and its writing style. I really liked what they were trying to do. Like, Donut County has a very similar feel to it as Night in the Woods. Which, Night in the Woods is a better game. But I appreciate that Donut County hit kind of the similar aesthetic note. Which I really liked. Rogue Legacy 2 on the afternoon list. It is certainly a game I played in the afternoon. Ah, and here's the Forgotten City. Thanks again, Shadowed Mage. Who was it who got me Donut County? Was it Kellerman? I have a list. Yep, Kellerman got me Donut County. I think Senna got me Visual, right? And I got me Tunic, because Tunic is important. Oh, I guess Rubber Ducky pulled the trigger on Tunic before I was able to. I was going to buy Tunic, and then I was gifted it before I could do that. Forgotten City was a very interesting game. I do really like my time loop shenanigans. I think Forgotten City was pretty fun. Although I was definitely weirded out by the sudden tonal shift of like, hey, we're doing cool time loop things, and there's a vengeful god. And then you really wanted to love Forgotten City? What did I say? What did I say? I'm sorry? Yeah, they had some. I think the writing was not up to the story they wanted to tell. Like, I think they were doing some very cool things with it, and it had a ton of potential, and at the end of the day, the execution wasn't quite there. Also, like, the tonal shift when entering the palace and suddenly you're playing Skyrim was, like, very weird to me. I didn't want to be playing Skyrim. I wanted to be playing the VN that Forgotten City promised to be. Oh, the fact that the Greek gods were ancient aliens. Yeah, I can understand why that would put you off. Yeah, that's pretty problematic. But yeah, I liked Forgotten City. I definitely had fun with it, even though it, kind of overstayed its welcome. I think there was a little bit too much Forgotten City for Forgotten City to be as good as it could be. And at the same time, like, the execution on the stuff that was there wasn't where it needed to be. But overall, Forgotten City was doing some really interesting things. It's not the kind of thing that you see every day. So, like, I'm willing to forgive it some of its faults just because the experience felt really fresh. It's somewhere here. It's somewhere here. I'm not sure if I want to put it as better than Donut County, because Donut County was actually like a really tight experience, like very well polished. And for all that Forgotten City was doing very interesting things, it's like not quite, not at that level of polish, right? And that matters. That absolutely matters for overall quality. I think if there's definitely some of this that's like less about what Forgotten City is and more about what I wish Forgotten City could have, like, what Forgotten City could have been is definitely in my mind. Because that's absolutely a part of the experience for me, was like what I thought it was going to be and where I thought it was going to go and the kind of experience I thought I was gonna have with it. So it's a little tough for me to like set that aside and just talk about the actual experience that Forgotten City delivered. Is that a pro or a con? Well, it's a con if you're talking about recommending the game to other people, right? Which is kind of how I'm the final attribute of what I am thinking of in terms of like best of is what I got out of it and how much I would recommend it to someone else. And, you know, the game that I wish it was is not strong, and that's not like a strong enough thing for me to recommend it because they're going to be playing the game as it is, unfortunately. Well, fortunately or un. I still think it was a good game, but like the gulf between what it was and what it could have been was pretty large. I think that puts it here. I'm starting to rethink this also. We'll come back to this. Look at all these randomizers I've played. Time Spinner randomizer is on the list. Factorio randomizer is on the list. I should go back to the Factorio randomizer. I've been having a lot of fun with that too. Revisits all the randomizers. Every randomizer. CSD is on the list? Man. Feels like I haven't played nearly enough Cook Serve Delicious. Kind of got to like near the end of CSD 3 and lost steam. Should I revisit that? Should I come back to CSD 3? Kind of waiting on Cook Serve Forever to come out. Very excited about Cook Serve Forever. I will definitely be playing that on release. At least to finish the road trip, maybe. So after Forgotten City, we had Boyfriend Dungeon. Talk about another game that's like the game it was versus the game I wanted it to be. That's why DRM free is important. As I said it, I knew there was a joke there, but I didn't want to pursue it. Yeah, it would be kind of tough to come into CSD again now after however many months that I've played it and try and like play at the level that I was playing when I was playing it seriously or more regularly. Boyfriend Dungeon had problems. I didn't have nearly as many problems with the game as a lot of other people seem to have had with it. I thought that there was the one character that everybody hated, and I agree. That guy is a huge dick and portrayed really poorly. And the options that you have for dealing with that mess are mostly unsatisfying. I appreciate their attempt at portraying relationships in a more realistic way than romance media typically portrays relationships. Like, yeah, exactly, Senna. But at the same time, they're also not giving you the options that you would actually have to deal with the situation. You're still stuck in continuing along with that storyline when any sensible person would have just cut it off. But I enjoyed the gameplay. And honestly, like, the dating game alongside the Dungeon Delver was, like, it's a unique approach, and they combined the two fairly well. Ooh, I definitely played What Remains of Edith Finch, Hamon. Isn't that the only one you can't cut off, too? I'm not sure. But yeah, sort of the end of game storyline depends on you going through that. And I don't think that each of the other dateable people requires that you get through to the end of their story. Like, the boss of the final dungeon is that character, or whatever that character made. So yeah, you kind of have to engage in order to go through the entirety of the game's storyline. But then each of the individual characters' storylines, other than that guy, you can do whatever you want with. I think Boyfriend Dungeon also suffers from the similar thing with Forgotten City, like the game that it could have been. I think I wanted the dungeon delving to be a little bit more involved. Which, like, I guess when all of your weapons are very unique, I don't know how much more you could ask for, but, like, I wanted the dungeon delving to be a little bit more involved. I do appreciate the large variety of characters they had that were dateable, right? Like, all of them very different, all of them very unique and presenting, like, kind of unique approaches to relationships, let alone unique relationship dynamics with each of the individual people. I thought that was really cool. I thought that was done really well. I was really happy with how that played out. But yeah, I think I wanted just a little bit more game in it. And also I wanted to be able to not have to deal with the asshole. Enjoyed talking about relationships during those streams. Me too, Tiff. Honestly, like, that's one of the draws for me for playing dating games, is people come in and start talking about dating, and then I get to talk about relationships. Like, that's fun. I like talking about relationships. I really like seeing what people do with their relationships, and the kind of dynamics that they foster in their relationships. Of course, this is coming from the perspective of someone who's poly. So, like, there are a lot of relationship dynamics out there that I am reasonably familiar with. And a lot more freedom to engage in relationships in the way that you want to engage in relationships when you're not dealing with relationships that are mostly built off of default assumptions. Relationship on the rusting floating islands. Haven! Haven is on the list too. We'll get to Haven. We'll definitely get to Haven. Haven was a lot of fun. But yeah, Boyfriend Dungeon. I think a better game than Vigil. I'm just going to be shitting on Vigil all night, aren't I? Like, Vigil was kind of bad. Yeah, I'm just going to be shitting on Vigil all night. Sorry, Vigil. Like, I enjoyed playing it, but there is much better representation in that genre than Vigil is. It's Vigil, okay. Vigil, the thing about Metroidvanias is my approach to Metroidvanias is kind of like my approach, like the archetypal approach to pizza, where it's like, even bad pizza is still pretty good, still pretty satisfying. And that's kind of how I feel about most Metroidvanias, is just like the type of gameplay that is on offer is, in general, hits me in a good way. So even if it's a bad Metroidvania, I'm probably going to still get some joy out of it. I'm probably going to still feel like I had a pretty satisfying experience. But that said, like, objectively, I can say Vigil's probably not that good a game. Even Deedlit. I thought Deedlit was pretty run-of-the-mill. Like, Deedlit was not doing anything particularly unique. Like, a couple of things. But for the most part, Deedlit was really heavily based in lore that was not present in the game, which was kind of a weird thing for me. But otherwise, it was just, like, standard? Deedlit was doing a lot of standard things? It was like, okay, yeah. I feel like I have played numerous games that were very similar to this. I'm not really getting anything new out of this game. But it's still kind of fun. Still pretty fun. It's the worst fanfic kind of writing. Yeah, that's hard to argue with. Was Deedlit in 2021 or was Deedlit in 2022? When did I play Deedlit? When did I play Deedlit? 2021. Hang on. We're gonna bring up the 2021 list, which presumably I had Deedlit on somewhere. Oh yeah, here we go. Deedlit, right down here, just above Shadowrun Dragonfall and just below Quantum Conundrum. I don't disagree with that. Oh, Haven is here. Haven was last year. I think Haven might have been, like, just at the end of last year. When was Haven? Ahead of Dragonfall? My dude, I don't know what to tell you. People keep wanting me to play Shadowrun games, and I play them because I've been gifted them, but I am not getting the value out of these Shadowrun games that y'all are. I have not played Teenage Exocolonist. I don't even know what kind of game it is, but it seems like a game I should probably look at some point. I think everything that Finji has done, or everything that Finji has published, has been pretty quality. Like, I've seen Chicory gameplay, and that's looked fantastic. You already know what I think about Tunic. I should probably take a look at Teenage Exocolonist at some point. There's that other game that, it's Long Live the Queen like? Oh, interesting. Okay. It's probably worth checking out. Yeah, you have a different ecosystem around you, huh, Senna? What's the other game I'm thinking of? It's it takes place in some, like, abandoned space station, and a dude keeps making clones of himself in order to run the parts of the space station that he wouldn't otherwise be able to run. What game am I talking about? It's also been, like, teased relatively recently. It was something that was by the same developers as a game I liked, and I don't know. What is the game I'm thinking of? I saw a trailer for it. Not that that is helpful information for you, because I'm not providing any additional information beyond I saw a trailer for it. The trailer doesn't have any more information than I told you about. Think I made it up? I did not make it up. 0% chance I am making this up. Alright, well, maybe eventually it'll come out and I'll remember. I'm definitely not going to go Googling for it right now. It sure isn't Peglin. Peglin is a very good game. I am still greatly enjoying Peglin, and I am glad that there is more content for Peglin. Very confident guys making up game trailers. You got me. You got me. I am generally confident about the things I make up. It's the things that I'm not sure. It's the things that are real that I'm not sure about. What a fantastic game, Peglin. I wish I were better at it. I'm assuming it's possible to be better at Peglin. Right? I'm assuming that it's possible to be better at, like, the aiming a ball at pegs and hitting pegs that you want to hit. Because that is a skill that I do not possess. It's possible that I could make better strategic decisions, but I'm also thinking that it's probably possible to be better at Peglin tactics. You have to spray and pray to move on the map where you want to go. Yeah, that's difficult sometimes, for sure. Anyway, Peglin is also on the afternoon list. Peglin is a real game that exists, and we played in the afternoon slot. Anyway, Boyfriend Dungeon. Where is Boyfriend Dungeon going on this list? It's somewhere here around Forgotten City. I think I might put it above Forgotten City, mostly for subject matter. Like, I thought it was... I appreciate kind of the narratives in Boyfriend Dungeon. I appreciate the representation in Boyfriend Dungeon. But there's also, like, potential there that wasn't realized, in addition to the slightly icky stuff with... What was his name? Scott? I don't think I remember what his name was. I am not putting these in order at the moment. These are definitely not ordered right now. Yeah, I haven't actually watched many other people play Peglin, but, like, Peglin might just always be like that. That might just be the Peglin experience. But that's something that I want to work on, right? Like, especially because it feels like the slime boss is something that maybe I just need a better strategy for the slime boss. Higurashi when they roam. Alright, that reference is lost on me. But yeah, Peglin is a fantastic game. Just really, really fantastic. I very much appreciate the interactions and synergies between the powers. Anyway, Boyfriend Dungeon. Oh, look, we played Bleed and Bleed 2. Those were fun. Arcadey action platformer kind of game. I don't think they really stuck with me. I don't think this is a game I'm going to get, like, into. But I definitely appreciate that this game existed. I feel like there is a very large gap between 5 and 6 right now. And that's probably where Bleed fits. Bleed actually probably here. I'm just going to put both of them in one slot because I don't actually remember too much about the differences between the two. Alternate randomizer, but subsequent patches broke it. Official one may have been fixed. Fixed. Yes, there are more than 256 unique seeds. That's true. That's improved. And they put in a quote-unquote fix for the unbeatable seeds, which was they added an extra chest, and if the seed was going to be unbeatable, they put the thing that you wouldn't be able to get in the extra chest, which I think is a piss-poor way of fixing it, but is also a very low dev time way of fixing it. And I think that's what they wanted out of the randomizer, was they kind of just wanted to wash their hands of it. Work keeps you from ever having time to watch streams during the day. Ah. Yeah, I can understand that. I think there's quite a few people in here who just lurk during the day and don't really engage, but just have a thing on in the background. And whether or not that's something that you can do at your work situation is what it is, I suppose. But yeah, this is why I'm bummed about how the Bloodstained randomizer shook out. Is that was the level of attention they paid to the problems that they need to resolve, and it not getting any more official support is really unfortunate. Dev time isn't hobby time. That's true, actually. Is like, as hobbyist projects, you can have a lot more time and dedication sunk into unofficial randomizers. Used to be able to do that, but because one coworker who is not doing well demands you have the cameras on during hour-long meetings. Oh no! I'm so sorry. Yeah, that sounds like a problem. I can understand. But yes, Bloodstained randomizer. Okay, so this is instance what, 2, 3 of bitching about the Bloodstained randomizer. I'm wondering how many more there will be. Similar frustrations with the Yoku rando. Oh, that's true. That was a situation where there was a fan-made randomizer, and then the devs were like, "This is really cool. We're just going to like put it in the game, like officially." And then that means that it's harder to make any changes to because now it's an official thing? It was always dev made? Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that. I thought there was some point where it was like the devs saw that people were trying to create a randomizer and was like, actually, we'll just implement it ourselves. Is that what happened? Like there wasn't any actual work done on the outside, just a bunch of like fans clamoring for ways to make it happen, and the devs were like, we think it's easier for us to just do it instead of allowing modding or something like that. I don't remember the details now. Something like that. I never did play that randomizer either. I had a good time with Yoku, but never really went back to it for the randomizer, which feels like I could have done. I don't know. It was also like one of those games where I really haven't retained knowledge that I feel like I need in order to be able to play it as a randomizer. So I haven't really felt like trying to relearn it. Working on how to make it function, one of the programmers said, yeah, I can put that together for you. Okay. Yeah, that sounds like the impression that I had. Recommend giving it a try? Maybe I'll give it a try offline sometime. Actually, if I'm going to try it, I probably want to try it on stream so that people can give me advice. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that at some point. It's kind of dead-ended. Yeah, that's a bit of a problem. That is a shame. Everything should be an archipelago. It makes it so much better. All right. Greek is next. Greek is on the list. Forgot that Greek existed. Yeah, this is an interesting game. This was another game that was like, I definitely enjoyed it while I was playing it, but I felt like it didn't end up living up to its potential. I did really appreciate the gameplay that it offered while I was playing it, for sure. Like it did some very cool things. It did some pretty unique things. But yeah, it wasn't as built out as I wanted it to be, I think. I wanted there to be like, what is this, like 6 hours of game here across both of these streams, and that was it. Like I wanted this to be like a 15-hour game, I think. Like you got the older brother in time to do what, like one dungeon with him, and then it was you straight into endgame. They didn't have that much that you needed to backtrack for, which, thinking about it, is kind of an interesting choice. Like, that's kind of non-standard. Usually you end up in situations where like you can't get an item and you have to come back to it later once you get, once you get other party members or other abilities, and that kind of really didn't happen that much in Greek. You just need an unrealized potential list. I'm not going to do that to these poor games. They don't deserve that. But yeah, Greek was a good experience while it was going on, and then just didn't keep going on. So I think that puts it for me. Where does that put it on this list, do you think? Better than Visual. Better than Forgotten City? Unsure. I'm not even sure that this is correct, thinking about it. I think I put Greek here. Like, I think Greek was a good game, but it just didn't deliver on its promise. I don't know. Maybe I put it. I'm trying to decide. Like, I'm still not quite sure where Forgotten City deserves to be on this list. I think is part of the problem. Like, I keep waffling about above or below Forgotten City, and I think that's because Forgotten City is still kind of variable in my mind. Like, I'm not sure where it belongs. I'm not sure how high to rank it. It's sort of difficult for me to say how much I liked Forgotten City and how much how much of it was just the gimmicks hitting me in particular kind of hard. Did Greek feature a lot of blue? It did not. Not any more blue than most games in this genre, I don't think. I think Azure was the name of the world? Maybe? I don't remember exactly. Speaking of not delivering on the promise, remember Soundfall? The action RPG with like the Diablo style loot and scoot based off of your personal sound library? Ah, this was really, really ambitious. Really ambitious. And then this is the game that we got out of it. What a letdown. Yeah, kinda. I'm not super happy with the idea that they made it into like a loot and scoot game. I think like basing stuff off of the songs was a really, really cool idea, but they needed more variety in terms of the things that they could do. And I don't think the way to get that variety, I don't think the way to get that replay value was loot. I think that was a poor choice. Custom music import was wonky. Yeah, it was a little wonky. Action rhythm games never work for you? That's interesting. I'm not sure that I agree with that. Yeah, because Necrodancer's really, really good. Like, Necrodancer is both a good roguelike and the rhythm gimmick works. But I can see that being something that, like, maybe doesn't work for everybody. Also, Necrodancer might be unique in its success. Yes, that's also possible. Yeah, Soundfall just didn't land. Ever have to fill empty space in Necrodancer? Because the movement is the rhythm. That's true. The fact that it's essentially turn-based instead of freeform, and you have to attack on the rhythm in Soundfall, but you're doing other stuff all the time anyway. Ape Escape was not a rhythm game. It just had dynamic music. Rhythm-based RPG, just play FF14. I'm going to need more information than that. but maybe not here. But yeah, Soundfall, I feel like the point of Soundfall was the replayability based on your own library, and then the attempt at providing story with the built-in library was really not impressive, and the core gameplay loop was like fun enough, but the attempts that they had to introduce replayability just didn't land. So it was basically down to like, you can play this almost fun but not quite there game based off of your own music library, and you kind of got tired of it pretty quickly. You get an ability every GCD. Oh, that kind of rhythm game. I don't know if that's what I want from my MMOs. Like, I haven't decided. Melatonin? What the hell is melatonin? Basically a clone of Rhythm Heaven. You have my interest. Color me intrigued. Anyway, Soundfall not very good. Not particularly impressed with Soundfall. It's another one of those things that's like, a lot was promised and very little was delivered. I think Soundfall goes on the separate list. 1-for-1 clone with Vaporwave aesthetic. Really? Minigames into remix sections? Oh, that's cool. I never did play Trombone Champ, no. I don't need to. I know what it's like. I've seen it. I've seen other people play it. And I really don't feel like I care. I'm... If one of my viewers cares enough to see me playing Trombone Champ that they gift me Trombone Champ, I will throw it on a stream once. And that's as much as I'm willing to do. Like, I think that will be my impetus to do a grab bag stream. Like, spend an hour on this game, and then an hour on the next game, and then an hour on the next game, and see if anybody actually, like, see if any of them are good enough to keep playing. Because I don't think I will want to play Trombone Champ more than about an hour. In fact, even that much is possibly pushing it. Watching it is about as fun as playing it, since the fun is in unlocking things, not the actual gameplay. That's the part that worries me, is it looks like the gameplay probably not that good. Like, I can see what the gameplay is like, and given that mostly I approach rhythm games from a rhythm gamer perspective, I think Trombone Champ is not for me. But if people want to inflict it on me, I'm willing to go along with it. Is the separate list the one with Systems Twilight? Yes. If I suffer enough of this game to unlock more things, do I eventually unlock fun? We're not talking about Dwarf Fortress. It is an unironically good rhythm game. I'm not sure I agree, based on what I've seen. But then again, I haven't played it, so maybe I can't make that judgment. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Why can't you be... Thank you. All right, and then this can be not bolded. Lower font. There we go. Ah, I see the problem. Okay. You know, I haven't looked at my Twitch recap, and I feel like I should probably look at that. Maybe we'll look at that at the end. We'll save that for the very end. We'll look at the Twitch recap together after I've gone through the list. More Factorio randomizers. Pretty good. Archaica? Remember the light reflection puzzle game? This game was actually pretty good, for all that most of the game looked like it was set in Unity default scene. I have some issues with the aesthetic. But overall, I think the puzzles were pretty good. Although the attempt at writing a storyline around the puzzles... well, I'll just say an attempt was made. The lore in Archaica is probably better left unmentioned. But as far as the puzzles go, the puzzles were fine. Game was fine. If you want exactly this kind of puzzle, I recommend you play Archaica for the puzzle. But this is also like the same kind of experience that you could get on like a, you know, a $4.99 app for your phone. You know, if you search your phone's app store for laser reflection puzzles, you will probably get as good, if not better, an experience. So, I don't know that Archaica necessarily has anything going for it that is unique. I think overall the things that Archaica has going for it are not the things in which it is unique. And the things in which it is unique are not positives. So Archaica goes down here on the list. Not terrible, but not very good. If Archaica was a Witness/TP style, that would be a very different game. And probably one that I would have had more fun in. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe I still would have been as turned off by the aesthetic and the lore. That's also plausible. We did one stream of Feel the Snow. I thought I was going to like this game a lot more than I did. And I ended up feeling like I didn't really have a lot of direction and didn't really know where I wanted to go. Which is, I think, the problem I have had with most games that are Stardew-likes. Which really this game is a Stardew-like. Somehow, Graveyard Keeper kept my interest in a way that no other game in that genre has. But yeah, I think Feel the Snow didn't quite land for me. I don't know that it was bad. Was it bad? Graveyard Keeper had good writing, even if not as much replayability. I mean, that's the thing, right? Is Graveyard Keeper traded replayability for giving you a more focused, more polished set of direction and experience. And that's honestly something that I appreciate it for. Like, I think it's a better game for not providing that replayability, just because the experience that you get is then more focused. You don't remember much about the Snow game? I mean, I don't know that anybody remembers much about the Snow game. It wasn't that impressive. It was just kind of there. Yeah, that was the thing with Graveyard Keeper, is I did kind of want to replay it for optimizing, especially given that I now knew a bunch more about the alchemy and you know, I wouldn't need to do as much trial and error figuring stuff out. But that's also kind of a slog to try and get through it again with that knowledge under your belt. Like, it's still a lot of repeated work. Felt like that game was very inconvenient to play. Graveyard Keeper or Field of Snow? I agree with the quality of life stuff, though. In both games. Graveyard Keeper, okay. They added quality of life stuff since you played? Maybe. I don't know what quality of life stuff they added or when they added it, to be honest. I don't think it was stuff that's been added since I played, but I do believe that with every successive DLC, they have added some stuff to the game at different parts of the game. Like, all the DLCs come in at different parts of the game. They're not all intended to be post-game. 2 chapters? Both Slay the Spire. Interesting. The hell? Thank you, Nwashat. Temple of Sneck. What is this? The game's description includes the word Monch, M-O-N-C-H. I'm intrigued. But yeah, Field of Snow, not that impressive. Comes across poorly in the comparison to every other game I have played in the genre, which is not that many. Temple of Sneck is cool. Okay. Well, it's going on the gifted list is where it's going. There's a lot of games on that list. And I really hope that I can make it so that it is not over a year long. By, you know, some point this year. Mark played it? Alright. Well, I will probably enjoy it when I get the chance. I'll look forward to it. Never Alone. I liked this game. This was also one of those games that, like... This had, like, a limbo / inside feel to it in terms of how the progress worked in this game. And it was about that same length, maybe even a little bit shorter. Like, kind of a bite-sized experience. 2 hours, yeah, not that much. But I also thought it was a little... the physics were a little loose on it, which was kind of... Add to the try it with a bunch of other games stream. Okay. It's fair. There are several games that I have that I think would make good fits for a... Try this stuff out and see whether or not it sticks kind of game. Kind of stream, rather. So that might be a thing I do in the near future. I think Rhythm Doctor fits on that list as a game that I want to try out, but maybe not devote a full stream to. I think Wavelander also, like, maybe a game that I want to devote a full stream to, but I'm not sure. Several games on my backlog list, anyway. I really appreciated that the story that they wanted to tell with this game. Rhythm Doctor looks interesting. It does look interesting. That is, I agree. I agree with that statement. It was really short, and that was probably the right amount of length for this game, also. Because that meant that it didn't overstay its welcome. And the fox was very cute. I definitely appreciated the animal friend in this game. What is Own Voices? I don't know what that means. But now I have to think about where I'm rating it. Oh, yeah. It had a lot of, like, documentary stuff in it. And it definitely, that, like, I got that feel, was the reason this game was being made is because people wanted to tell the story of their own culture. And that was the point of the game. And I think it did it well. Like, I think it was good. I've never run into that term, own voices, before. That's pretty cool. So where does Never Alone go on this list? Here somewhere? Above Greek? Below Greek? Probably above Bleed. Probably below Greek. It feels about right. Man, I have this is like games I really liked and games that could have been so much better, and then some other games that did stuff and were maybe okay. I've seen the term more often in book circles. Okay, sure, that's cool. And then Dandara is next on the list. Really like Dandara. Really like Dandara. I thought Dandara was great. I am really sad that there's not a randomizer for Dandara. This is a game that I feel like would work really, really well with a randomizer. Especially with like how progress works in it. I googled it and I couldn't find one. If one exists, it is remarkably well hidden. It would be super cool if that was a thing, but I don't know anything about it if it's real. I definitely enjoyed Dandara. Wow, I don't know that I have anything bad to say about Dandara, actually. I think Dandara was a great game. I really liked the challenges that it offered. It was kind of difficult to get used to traversal in some cases, and that definitely affected how well I did on some things that I thought I should have been better at. It definitely affected, like, what level of challenges I think they were able to offer in the game. I think they had some hidden secrets that I never found that were, like, that was a little troublesome. Just the way some of the hidden doors were hidden. Some of them were surprisingly obtuse. But I think that's the only bad thing I have to say about Dandara. Flubber movement style? I guess so. Yeah, it's the one where you bounce. Like, all movement is straight line from a point until you hit another grapple point, essentially, on another wall. And then there's no real gravity, it's just you're stuck to walls. It was a great game. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed playing through it. I think it goes here. I think it is a better game than Astalon. Although that may be subjective. That may be situational. Still a very good game. Six months ago. Oh yeah, we're at about the halfway point. Almost the halfway point, maybe. Aw, Creeks! Remember Creeks? This game was good too. I didn't realize it was that long ago, actually. Creeks feels fairly recent. I like this game. I like the aesthetic for this game. The bird people were fascinating. How good was Creeks, though? Creeks was pretty good, right? I'm gonna say Creeks was pretty good. It's by the people that did, what's the name of the game? Machinarium? And Samarost was the one that I was thinking of. Yeah, I think it's by the same people. And it, for the most part, was like the same kind of puzzles. Ultimate Jerkbird game. I've definitely played games with more jerks than this game. But there sure were some jerks in this game. You are not wrong. And the fact that all of the furniture wanted to eat you was disconcerting, to say the least. But yeah, Creeks was fun. Where does Creeks go on this list? I think Creeks is around the Donut County level. Like, I think Never Alone maybe should also be around this Donut County level, but Never Alone kind of didn't quite hit that point for me. And Creeks felt a lot smoother to play. Even though you're doing around the same kind of platforming as Never Alone. And then, like, the aesthetic just really worked for me. I was really into whatever was going on in the world around you in Creeks. I thought that was really cool. I think I like Donut County better, though. So I think it goes here. That feels about right. Hey, Stacklands. Y'all remember Stacklands? I never did come back to it after doing my one Stacklands DLC stream. Well, maybe my 2 Stacklands DLC streams. So that's a thing that's going to happen in the near future. I think it is on my schedule for next week, in fact, or this week, is revisiting Stacklands. Seeing if we can do more stuff there. How was the DLC? I liked it. I really liked it. They reworked how classes worked for villagers, which I appreciated. I think that's a good choice, the way they did it, the way they did equipment. And the addition of like a challenge zone, effectively, is the new zone. It's not like another island that you go to. Was a neat idea. Yeah, they retooled combat completely, which is fascinating. And I think it works better for the game. I think the game is better as a result. Yeah, thumbs up on Stacklands. Stacklands good. Play Stacklands if you haven't. More Hollow Knight. And then Stray! Y'all remember the cat game? The cat game was really good. I had a lot of fun with the cat game. Cat game was fantastic, man. I have I feel like there's probably something negative that I can say about the cat game, but like nothing immediately comes to mind. I think maybe I might have wanted more from some of the puzzles than it offered. Or I might have had some opinions about the way some of the robots were treating you or something. I don't know, man. Cat game was great. Cat game was super good. Stray got Indie Game of the Year over Tunic. Okay. Personally, I disagree. But Stray was very good. Stray was a very good game. You can knock paint cans off ledges. It's true. You can knock paint cans off ledges. And you can meow at security cameras, which is great. Like, there's really a lot of cool things that you can do in Stray. Shocked that Vampire Survivors didn't get Indie of the Year. Vampire Survivors may have gotten enough playtime to make the list. But, I don't think it's good enough as a game to do to make a Game of the Year list. I love the Stray NPCs. Yep, the little robots were so good. Bag on head? I don't know that I ever got a bag on my head. Did I ever get a bag on my head? Do I remember that? Is that a thing that I saw happen to me? Couldn't meow while in the box, though. That is true. That was a problem. And the cat behaved as expected. Fantastic. I'm honestly, like, all of the story in Stray and the puzzles in Stray and the platforming in Stray, all of that was, like, fine. And the real way that Stray shined was everything that was, like, the cat acting like a cat, rather than the cat acting like a video game character. Like, the cat just acted like a cat in so many great places, and it was perfect. And then all the rest of it was the cat being a video game character. And that was cool to play as a cat, but it was a lot less the cat acting like a cat. Right, it's not quite Untitled Cat Game, because you are not being a cat the entire game. Some of the time you're just being a video game character. Whereas Untitled Goose Game, I definitely feel like you are being a horrible goose the entire time. And there is nothing to distract you from being a horrible goose. But yeah, Stray's still a fantastic game. Very, very good. Would absolutely recommend Stray. Alright, what did we do after Stray? We played The Looker? Remember The Looker? The goose honking inside the bottle? Yeah, that was really good too. The Looker was very good. Absolutely requires familiarity with the source material. But that said, Looker was a hell of an experience. The hint buttons, the like audio log about the ship, the puzzle that said beep at you. There was so much just absolutely A+ content in The Looker. I don't know that I can rank The Looker, to be honest. Like, I don't know that the experience that The Looker provides is one that fits as a, like, relative ranking, you know, 6th best, 7th best, whatever game that I played this year. I don't even know that I can qualify it like that. Game I played. It certainly was a game I played. It might even be the most game I played this year. It is a very strong contender for game I played this year. I guess if I had to give it a ranking, it would probably be like here. I could put The Looker here. Which I feel like kind of does a disservice to Dandara, but also like The Looker was very good in what it was providing. Yeah, you know what? Who's even going to look at this list after tonight? I'm just going to leave it like this. This is good. Played some Into the Breach this year. Into the Breach is a game that I keep coming back to like every couple of months. I'm like, oh yeah, Into the Breach was real. Maybe I should play more Into the Breach. Or Griftlands. Me in two, yeah, probably, yeah, is like me next year is when anybody is going to look at this list again. Yep, played a little bit of Griftlands. Not that Griftlands was anything new this year. A little bit Into the Breach. Also, not anything new this year. Not many of these games are new this year, right? Across the Obelisk is new this year. Downfall is new this year. Most of the randomizers are new this year. Peglin is new this year. And then I guess Stacklands is new this year also. You keep suggesting things I'm unfamiliar with, Failsnail. I'm beginning to suspect that this isn't a bit. That you actually think that this game that you're recommending is very, very good and you want me to play it. I don't know anything about it, though. 2D hack and slash with challenge and Western Metroidvania JRPG. That is a lot of words. Oh, 2 separate games. Got it. Okay. I was gonna say that's like a lot of words for one game, but it was not one game. It's 2 games. All right. Well, we'll talk about it later, I guess. I don't know what else to do with that. I should mark which of these are actually new, right? Stacklands is new. Peglin is new. Feel the Snow is new. I don't like marking them this way. Maybe I'll mark the ones that aren't new. Was Across the Obelisk new? It was like my one Across the Obelisk stream that I saw here. I feel like I was playing Across the Obelisk last year. Am I going to actually rank the afternoon games? Unclear. Yeah, Across the Obelisk not new to this year. Downfall was new. Randomizers were new. Not sure the Time Spinner randomizer was new. Time Spinner might not be new. Yes, so far I've just been adding things to the bottom. CSD3 not new. Peglin was new. This was not new. This one's not new. I agree. So far I'm just adding things to the bottom. That is a correct assessment. Autonauts versus Pirate Bots. Okay, I guess that is technically new this year. And also a game I enjoyed a lot. And then Shadowrun Hong Kong. 40 hours of Shadowrun. Y'all gonna get mad when I rate this low again? Because I'm just gonna rate this low again. You're aware of that, right? Like... these Shadowrun games are not things I do for me. Yes, okay. Great. As long as we're on the same page. As long as we both know where we're coming from. I am sure they are great games. Failsnail, if you like tactical games with good story, you should play the Shadowrun games. If I were not playing it on stream, I wouldn't have finished it. And that is more a reflection of who I am as a gamer, rather than how good the Shadowrun games are. They're just not my thing. They're just really not my thing. Like, I think it's a good game. It's definitely better than bad games. This probably deserves to be higher on this list than that, actually. Maybe there. Sure. But yeah, it's not for me. Better than you were expecting. I do think that objectively it is a good game, honestly. And, you know, in the same kind of like better than the previous Shadowruns, like that actually happened, right? There's Shadowrun, and then there's Dragonfall, and then there's Hong Kong, and I do think that... Now you're angry I rated it too high. Alright, fair enough. I do think that Hong Kong was better than Dragonfall, and I do think that Dragonfall was better than the first Shadowrun Returns. Um, and I think that they are good games. I think the story is interesting. I think the story is well told, and just the amount of writing and the tactical gameplay was too much for me. You rather liked Bleed? I liked Bleed too. But it wasn't anything that I was gonna come back to. And I guess it wasn't something that I thought was particularly impressive or particularly unique. Like, I kind of like the arcadey gameplay of it. But I don't know how high that puts it on my list of, like, favorite games of the year. If I haven't already said hello, Revens. Hello, Revens. How's it going? But yeah, overall, like, I think the Shadowrun, I think the things that Shadowrun is doing are pretty good, but there's just too much of them for me. Like, there's just too much Shadowrun. And I think past, like, 15, 20 hours, if I hadn't been playing on stream, I would have lost interest and gone and done something else instead. Which, again, not a reflection on the game. I think the game is a very good quality version of its game, right? It's not a matter of unrealized potential or bad execution or anything like that. I think it just doesn't work for me specifically. And also, there's a lot of it. I have done one stream of Backpack Hero. I enjoyed Backpack Hero, and I thought that wins were too easy to get. Backpack Hero is still fun. I haven't gone back to it. I don't know if I will. Maybe I will. Feels like the kind of thing that I could probably spend some time off stream just, like, messing around with. Even if I never stream it again. We should come back to it at some point. Maybe. I'll put that on my revisit list. Backpack Hero is in fact new and may be worth a revisit. There are Ascension difficulties. Oh, I don't think there were Ascension difficulties when I was playing it. But I know that there's been a lot of active development of Backpack Hero. It's kind of weird when most of the releases coincide with, like, holiday content, but then also produce a bunch of actual content for the game that's not just for the holiday. But the fact that it coincides with the holiday and that's, like, their big thing that they're announcing is, look, Christmas content, in addition to all of the base content that's going into the game. And it's like, okay, so if I don't play specifically during the month of December, or specifically during the week and a half in which Halloween lands, is there anything in this for me? And it turns out there is. There's, like, a bunch of base game content that they've added, but they're still publishing under the headline of the holiday for whatever reason. That kind of, I don't know. I think it's weird. I think it's weird is all I'm saying. It's kind of weird. Yeah, the holiday content stuff is never really sat right with me. I dislike the feeling that, like, I'm missing stuff because I'm not playing when they want me to play. So this is the same kind of thing that pushes me out of, like, all of the random mobile games. Too much holiday content. Taiji. My god, Taiji was good. What a great game. What a great game. Like, if The Witness 2 doesn't exist, at least Taiji is here for me. And honestly, happy to play a Witness-like that doesn't come packaged with John Blow's unique philosophy thing. Like, whatever narrative he is trying to put out in the world, like, I am okay with missing out on all of that and just playing the puzzle game. Felt the same way about Braid. Like, I really liked the puzzles in Braid and the mechanics in Braid, and then it was wrapped up in this, like, very, very kind of, I think fearful narrative, I want to say, about relationships. That was somehow a metaphor for the atomic bomb? And I'm not sure that I like the parallel of, like, getting into a relationship is like creating a weapon of mass destruction. Or maybe that's not the narrative that he was putting. It's really tough to tell is the problem. And then whatever narrative he's trying to tell is, like, also wrapped up in the way that he wants to tell his stories, which is anyway, Taiji fantastic. Order of magnitude fewer Steam sales than Tunic. Yeah, that actually sounds about right. Like, I don't think many people heard about Taiji, and it definitely didn't get the press that Tunic did. But fantastic game. Really, really good. Mostly explains why you haven't seen Taiji on any top of 2022 lists. I'm not sure whether I put Taiji above Stray. I think that is a hard call to make. I don't think that Taiji is a better game than Stray. But it's also one of those situations where they're different enough that it's hard to compare them directly. I think I agree with that, Mark Magus. Like, it almost didn't understand the story that it itself was telling. But yeah, none of that reflects poorly on Taiji, I am happy to say. Taiji's a fantastic game. This is actually, like, a really tough call here. Like, it's such a different experience, and it's presenting a very different kind of joy. I think I enjoyed Taiji more than Stray, but I don't know if I can say that Taiji is a better game than Stray. (2A) and (2B). Is there any way for me to, like, extra increment? There we go. Sure. I think I am actually willing to say that Taiji was better than Stray. But it's very close. It's not something I'm willing to say without a bunch of qualifiers. But I am willing to say it. More Grifflands. Grifflands was good. Oh, it was Legacy. This game was cute. This game, I think Alwa's Legacy looked worse than it actually was. I think it, at the end of the day, it played really well. And the way that it handled its secrets, I thought was really satisfying. For the most part, I was able to find everything, and I was really happy with the process of going through it to find the stuff that I wanted to find. And the power level progression was very serious. Like, that was Like, it did a really good job of making you feel like you were getting more powerful with new abilities. I like that. The boss fights were nothing to write home about. The boss fights seemed more like a formality than anything else. I think the combat in general was like not that impressive, but the exploration and the secrets and the platforming were all done really well. I think there could have been more in terms of platforming, but this game was definitely more focused on the puzzle aspect of puzzle platforming than on the platforming aspect of puzzle platforming. And I think it did do a really good job of that. I think Always Legacy was really good. I enjoyed it. For sure enjoyed it. I would recommend Always Legacy. I don't think I recommended it above Dendera. I'm not sure that I recommend it above Astalon. I probably do, actually. I think Always Legacy is a more approachable game than Astalon is, for all that it is a bit more obscure in terms of what it's doing and how it's doing it. Astalon felt a lot more straightforward, a lot more traditional as a Metroidvania, which is not bad. You kind of know what you're getting out of it. But Always Legacy kind of mixed it up a little bit more than Astalon did. For all that Astalon was a very good game. This one also, I'm not sure. I think this is close. Astalon also had the story problem. It seems like a lot of these games have story problems. Astalon had a writing problem more than it had a story problem. I think Always Legacy had a story problem more than it had a writing problem. What writing there was in Always Legacy was fine. There just wasn't nearly enough of it to actually tell a story. Whereas Astalon... yeah, Astalon definitely had a story. It absolutely had a story. No one can say that Astalon did not have a story. What it did not have was a good storyteller. And I think that plays a little bit into that ranking. It definitely had a story problem. I agree with that. Timberborn good. Good game, Timberborn. Goes on the list. Have not ranked Best of Afternoon yet. We'll come back to it, but Timberborn is on that list. Always Legacy is cheap. That's the other thing. It was a good experience, especially for the value. For the value. Yeah, good value. Do you need to finish Black Knight mode in order to get the full story out of Astalon? Yeah, I don't think doing it for the story was worth it. You do it for the gameplay. If you're not doing it for the gameplay, then it's not worth it. I thought it was worth it to do for the gameplay, and I felt good about that. But like, if you're doing it for the story, I would say don't. Vault of the Void, also new, also good. I've been enjoying Vault of the Void. There will be more Vault of the Void in the future. Return to Monkey Island. Boy, howdy. Does this whole series have problems with endings? Speaking of stories with problems, everything about this game was fantastic. 100% fantastic. Until you get to the very last scene. And I feel like I had the same complaints about Thimbleweed Park. Although the problems with Thimbleweed Park started a little bit earlier than the very last scene, because there were a lot of hints as to where they were going with it, which meant that Thimbleweed Park was a more cohesive experience. Like, the end of Return to Monkey Island just felt disjointed. Like, okay, this is a way that you can end your game if you want to. But this is maybe a step up, maybe a step down from it was all a dream. Like, hated Thimbleweed Park. Oh yeah, because that one guy that showed up in a bunch of different places and had the weird speech tick. Yeah, that's true. That was pretty irritating. There was so much to like about Return to Monkey Island, and it's just really a shame that the ending left such a sour taste in my mouth. And you can kind of play it off as like Guybrush telling the story to his son, so it doesn't matter if there's a real ending. That might not even be the real ending. It's just the ending he decided to tell his son at the time for reasons, maybe just to be done with telling the story. But like, winking too goddamn much at the audience, that doesn't bother me. Honestly, anything that felt like a nod directly at the audience was more like, hey, look at how Monkey Island we are. And I'm okay with that. Because that feels like a core feature of Monkey Island. Is, like, talking to the audience in that way. And I'm completely okay with that. I appreciate that so much of Return to Monkey Island was callbacks. Because that's honestly what I am playing Return to Monkey Island for. Is to go back to Monkey Island. Right? I want to feel like I am, in fact, back in this world and back in this series and seeing all the things that I saw before, except slightly different because time has moved on or whatever. I don't mind that at all. I can see why people might. They definitely did lay it on fairly thick. Not a problem for me. Giant Ron Gilbert self-congratulatory circle jerk. Hell of a phrase. That is a series of words. Yeah, I don't know. It didn't rub me the wrong way the same way that it apparently did for you. I guess it's maybe something that I didn't pay that much attention to. Yeah, anyway, I really, really liked Return to Monkey Island until I didn't. Which I guess puts it at the top of the unrealized potential list. I don't know that I can put Return to Monkey Island that low. I don't think I can put it above Dandara. So I think it goes somewhere lower than here. And definitely above Boyfriend Dungeon. Somewhere in this range. Did I think it was a better game than Creeks? Probably. Think it was a better game than Donut County? Maybe? Probably. Do I think it was a better game than Murder by Numbers? I think if you take out all the stuff that I had problems with, which was mostly the ending, then yeah, I do think it was a better game than Murder by Numbers. But taken as a whole, the entire package, maybe not. I think part of this is also like the kind of gameplay that Monkey Island games offer is going to make them rank higher than they might objectively deserve, just because that resonates really well with me. The point-and-click adventure style of gameplay really works for me. Think it's a better game than Astalon? It's probably a better game than Astalon. I think I liked Astalon more, though. So maybe it goes between Astalon and Murder by Numbers? Which I feel like is not fair to Murder by Numbers, but I'm not really sure what to do with this. This is just like such an outlier in terms of the types of games that I frequently play that it's like hard to rank. You can put it here. Man, if I was giving numerical rankings to each of these games, then this list would look entirely different. I am 100% certain that if I were actually give like a 1 to 10 ranking to each of these games, then this list would be drastically, maybe not drastically reordered, but definitely reordered. Like, it would not be in this same order if you took them numerically top to bottom after I gave them numerical rankings. I think I am really bad at ranking things. It doesn't do anything new, it just does the same thing over and over again with a bunch of inside jokes and a terrible ending. Sure. After Return to Monkey Island was Hyperbolica, which I was okay. So the thing about Hyperbolica is it did things like it did more than I was expecting it to. I was not expecting a lot out of Hyperbolica. I had really, really low expectations of Hyperbolica, and it vastly surpassed what expectations I had. Which is not to say that I think it is an amazing game, just that I thought it was going to be a 3, and it was at least a 6. It was, at the end of the day, probably more tech demo than game. But it felt like a game. It felt like a game and not a tech demo. I think I liked Hyperbolica more than I expected to. I don't know where that puts it on this list, though. Probably like here. Stop. Maybe lower? Maybe lower. Above Forgotten City? Yeah, for how short it is and what it offered, I think it goes here. Hyperbolica was quirky in a fun way. Yes, I agree. Absolutely agree. Honestly, Hyperbolica probably belongs around the same place that Down in Bermuda belongs. Like, Down in Bermuda being this far down on this list is probably not accurate. Have fun trying to guess my placement in advance based on my initial descriptions. Okay, good. All right, instead of reordering things now, what I'm going to do is come back to it later and complain about how bad of an ordering it is, and then still not fix it, but let you know that I think things are misordered. Later. Other randomizers? God, how many randomizers did I play this year? What did we play? Hollow Knight, Factorio, Time Spinner, Tunic. We didn't play the Bloodstained randomizer this year. I think all of my Bloodstained randomizer was last year. Were there other randomizers that I played this year? I think these might be all the ones that I played on stream. There's definitely other randomizers in Archipelago that I've played. Developing your game ratings you're now pretty happy with was a years-long process. That makes a lot of sense. Oh, The Witness. We also played The Witness randomizer. Yep. And then Potionomics. Man. Potionomics. Potionomics also a game that was firing on all cylinders. Every single piece that they included was in Potionomics was done well and interlocked well with the other pieces of the game. I think the overall story was uninspired. I think I can safely say that. But that, I think, is the only knock I have for it. The individual character storylines, all, I think, were done well and tailored well to the characters. I think Baptiste is kind of an uninteresting character, so his storyline was kind of uninteresting. That's how that goes. Not a big fan of Cormac, not a big fan of Cormac's storyline, but maybe that's an indication of like their storylines needing work, but also just like the character design, I think, was not a design that I was interested in. And I definitely felt much bigger draw towards the characters whose designs I thought were more interesting. Just enough story to drive progression? Yeah, that's about right. Surprised how fun the card game was. That easily could have been pretty thorough. It could have been, and it wasn't. It was real. It was very real. I absolutely enjoyed the card game. I really enjoyed trying to put together something that could break it. And the fact that I eventually was able to break it was really thrilling. Although that was a collaborative effort. I think Morden Smith had a fair amount of claim to fame there. Yeah, the fact that she made you... The fact that she did that without giving herself any other bonus was the part that got me. Like, I'm fully on board with the reason that we won is Sylvia is good at convincing people of things. Like, that's fine, right? Convincing the boss to do a thing that's not in their best interest, good job, Sylvia. You are a superhuman negotiator. But, there should have been something else there. There should have been some kind of boost. Like, instead of going for the sure win, convinced her that she wanted to do something flashier, like, great. But she should have gotten some advantage in the final round. It should not have just been the exact same thing. Someone said at the time that you should have had to negotiate with her. Ooh. I didn't think about that. That would have been neat. That would have been very different, but that would have been neat. That said, I really, really like Potionomics. I thought Potionomics was fantastic. Yeah. I have very few bad things to say about Potionomics, and I think the game carried it regardless. The way everything fit together was just really, really good. It was a little long, but I think it kind of needs to be that long in order to let you play with all your toys. And I think giving you toys and then letting you play with them was very important. I think I would have liked a little bit more variety in some of the shop upgrades. That was a little bare bones, but there was just enough there for that to be the thing that it needed to be, which I also respect. Like, there were a lot of different mechanics and different interlocking features in that game, and some of them were always going to be just enough to have the feature rather than something more fleshed out. And I think it's okay the way that they ended up doing it. Oh yeah, Zid was just great. God, so many good characters in Potionomics. So many good characters. And then the Pedestrian happened. The Pedestrian was also really good. It's definitely not at Taiji level. I really like the Pedestrian. I think there could have been more to it. I guess the kinds of puzzles that they had in the Pedestrian were, like, overall fairly, I'm not going to say uninspired, but, like, standard? It's like almost every puzzle that you run into the Pedestrian, you're like, ah, yes, this is the kind of puzzle that you could have in this game. Until you got to the one at the end, and that was like, that almost made it all worth it. Well, I say made it all worth it, as if the game was not worth it. The game was definitely worth it. I think the game was put together really well. And it never overstayed its welcome. Like, some puzzle games will do that, right? They'll take a mechanic and then scale up and scale up and scale up until you're like, wow, I'm actually not having fun anymore. And Pedestrian didn't do that. I wish there was more to the thing at the end. Like, I wish they would have done another couple of things with that. That would have been super, super cool. But overall, I really liked it. I think it's probably about as good as it could be given its length. It was a very short game. If it was longer, it could have been better. Maybe. I don't know. That's a little hard to say, right? I feel like the developers did everything they wanted to in it. And there was definitely room to potentially make it a longer game, but maybe there just wasn't anything else the developers wanted to do with it. And, you know, you have to respect that. You have to respect that vision. So yeah, not like a Game of the Year contender, but very enjoyable. I didn't look into it, Senna, so I don't know. So I guess the question is, based on that, where am I putting Pedestrian on this list? I think Pedestrian is around the Donut County level. I'd probably put it above Donut County. It fits the same niche as Donut County, which I'm not sure makes it as good a game as Donut County. But, like, occupies, like, a similar headspace for me. Probably put it here. think that's about right. And I am behind on making VODs, on setting highlights for stuff. Very behind. Wow, have I been slacking. But if I go into past broadcasts, we can see from about here. Honey, I Joined a Cult is new. That goes on the list. Still don't know how I feel about that game. Escape Sim is not an evening game. I probably could do, like, a single-player Escape Simulator stream and call that an evening game stream. But it still feels more afternoony. And Blasphemous. Blasphemous goes on this list somewhere. Where on this list does Blasphemous go? So the really interesting thing for me with Blasphemous is there is still more stuff to do in that game, and I'm kind of peeved about it. Like, I wanted to feel like I got through more of this stuff than I got through. And the fact that there's still more to do, like, I kind of don't want there to be more to do. Like, I do want to do the more stuff that there is to do, but, like, I think I'm annoyed at the way that Blasphemous gates its content. I guess I wanted to be able to do it all in one save file, and the fact that I can't kind of bothers me. On a mechanical level, I think Blasphemous is really fun, actually. I think Blasphemous is a good game. I think it's really interesting what they've been doing with the power-ups and the way that, like, it kind of subverts some of your Metroidvania expectations. But all of the Catholic fanfic is just mind-boggling. There's, like, I can't even tell if there's an attempt at story. It feels like there's an attempt at story. They're just not telling it well or not telling it at all. And, you know, I'm on board with, like, environmental storytelling or whatever, or the sense that you have to dig in order to get to the story. And that's not what this is. I don't even know what this is. That's the whole Dark Souls deal, I guess. I still haven't played any Dark Souls games. Lore, not story, but, like, why are you there? Like, this is the problem that I have. Lore is great, world building is great, but I want to know what my character is doing. Like, my character is doing things, right? There should probably be reasons for that. And all of the lore that they've thrown at me has not revealed that in any way. You are there to get good. Fair enough. This world is your personal playground. It's kind of not, though. In Dark Souls, sure. But also, like, tell me more. I think it's a very interesting world that they built up. Well, I don't know that I think it's a very interesting world that they built up. I think they put a lot of effort into building up a world that has a lot of detail. And I'm mildly annoyed that none of those details seem to interlock with each other. and in some cases seem to contradict each other. Anyway, I could bitch about Blasphemous' story for a while, but mechanically I think the game is sound. And I appreciate the way that they've done boss fights so far. I think they've been pretty satisfying and pretty fun to fight. Which is a big part of what I get out of these games, is like, are the boss fights fun? And I think the boss fights are fun. So that's good. That's important. I don't know where that translates to in terms of like a position on this list. Better than Vigil. I think I had more fun with Astalon than I'm having with Blasphemous. But I think Blasphemous is still good. Maybe somewhere around, like, just below Creeks? No. I don't think I can reasonably rate Blasphemous even that high. Like, I'm having fun with it, but I feel like I'm having fun with it despite the game, rather than because of the game. Like, there's so many things that I feel like they've done in weird ways, or done wrong, or done in ways that actively reduce my interest. And yet, I'm still having a good time going through all the mechanical stuff. But there's a lot to detract from this game. There's just really a lot to detract from it. It probably goes in somewhere around here. It's a pretty damning indictment. I think I'm having more fun with the game than its position here reflects. But, there's just a lot going on in that game that I don't appreciate. I guess. Overall game of the year was obviously Peglin. Obviously. Alright, so this is a afternoon games what I have played. This is not an ordered list of games. I can do an ordered list of afternoon games. However, I think that list does not include many of these. Yeah, I'm not including any of the games in italics, right? So it's... Whoa there. Zoom level, why? So Downfall is on this list. I'm not including any of the randomizers either. The randomizers I'm going to treat as a separate thing. So this is the list of new to this year afternoon games that are not randomizers. Now to actually put it in a reasonable order. I still don't know how I feel about Honey, You Joined a Cult. I don't think it's going to last too much longer, but maybe it'll surprise me. I'm having more fun with it than I did with Prison Architect. But there's still a lot of Prison Architect there. And overall, I thought the base mechanics in Prison Architect, like, even aside from the prison part of Prison Architect, I thought the base mechanics of Prison Architect was not as much fun as some of the other things that I've done. I've been really enjoying Vault of the Void. Something like this? I think Downfall is higher on this list than the amount of enjoyment I got out of it, or the value that I got out of it, or even my willingness to play additionally. But I think Downfall deserves its place just in terms of how good a game it is and how well it's put together. But a lot of that is based off of just how good Slay the Spire is also. Peglin, top of the list. No qualifiers. The fact that it's a free fan mod, yeah, that's also true. I really appreciate what Stacklands is doing, especially with how unique it is. I want more games like Stacklands. I really like the interface and the gameplay of it. It's always so jarring. Wow. Why do I have that set that loud? Thank you for the bits. I think overall this probably about what I think. Feel the Snow just did not land. I was expecting more from it, and it did not deliver. Escape Simulator I think has been fun. What little I've played of it. And I wouldn't mind playing more of it, although I'm not sure if we're going to do another multiplayer stream. Backpack Hero, maybe if I played more of it, this ranking would change either up or down. But I don't have that much experience with it. And I don't know how enthused I am about going back to it. Like, I feel like there's other games in the same genre that I am more interested in playing. Like Peglin, for example. I think Vault of the Void is as high as it is on this list because it still feels new to me. There still feels like a lot to do with it. Once I maybe get more used to it and feel more at home in Vault of the Void, I expect it'll drop a little bit. Hard to grade Escape Sim because it really needs multiplayer to shine, and that depends heavily on who you're playing with. Potentially, yeah. Experience is so dependent on who's there with you. I think that's actually interesting because I think in real escape rooms, the number of people that you have there is important because it's set up in such a way that, like, you kind of need people doing parallel processing on the puzzles that are there in order to make it out in time. Whereas I'm not sure that that's true in Escape Sim. But also I don't have that much experience with it. I really liked AVP. I think I would like to have a reason to go back to it, but as it stands, I don't. I played it, and it's been played. I keep toying around with the idea of trying to put together a mod for Autonauts that's like an Autonauts randomizer, the same way that the Factorio randomizer works. And it's just a lot of work to try and put that together. Timelines in the Western scenario were very generous. Yeah, they kind of were. They were bigger scenarios, but not like 4 times as bigger. Those timelines probably could have been like... I think at 40 minutes it would have started to feel kind of cramped. And maybe not as reachable by the average group. Or maybe Yumi and Inkling are the average group. And the timing should have been much tighter. But yeah, an hour was very generous. I'm excited to go back to Timberborn. But I want there to be more stuff in Timberborn before I go back to it. I want it to feel like there's more to the game rather than just what I played. Like, as it stands, I would probably start another Timberborn colony, but I don't think there's enough there to keep my interest. Like, going through the same motions that I went through with the first colony, essentially. But yeah, I think this about says everything I need to have said. Interesting that there was only one full miss on this list. Only one game that I feel like I would have been better off having not played. And all the rest of the games that I played this year, I pretty much enjoyed. Or felt good about, at least. There were 3 dishonorable mentions in 2021, for the record. And I didn't make a list for any previous years. So that's where we're at for that. All right. So I guess that's everything, right? That's the whole thing. We've done it. We've looked at all the things. What was I on? I was on highlights. What even was Soundfall? Soundfall was the action RPG rhythm game that used your own music library to generate levels. And tried to generate replayability by having kind of the Diablo style loot and scoot kind of gameplay loop. And it was not very good, unfortunately. I wanted more out of it than it gave me. All right, but let's look at the Twitch recap. I feel like this is the thing that I want to end on. So let's do this. Let's take a look at Twitch recap and see what I got out of here. 3 different things: community, viewer, and streamer. Community? Oh, community is like everybody on Twitch. I don't care about that. You guys don't get to see my viewer recap, but I will look at my streamer recap. $241 broadcasts, 11,000 hours watched. Nice. 82 clips created. I don't know what CCV means. I guess concurrent views. So like the biggest current view count I had at one point, 43 viewers at a single time. Okay. That's a pretty high number, actually. For my stream, that's a pretty high number. 241 broadcasts over the year. That's pretty good. Let's see. If I had actually hit every day that I was supposed to and did one stream, that would be 260, right? Five streams a week at a 365 days will be 260 days. So this means I missed about 20 days out of all of the streams that I was intending to stream, which is not a whole lot of vacation time, to be honest. And I don't know how much of that is like actual vacations versus like, I am too tired to do a thing today, I'm just not going to do it. That's true, I have done some number of bonus streams as well. That's not a lie. So there's a little bit more than that. Well, I guess if I end up going to SGDQ this year, then there will be a longer break in the middle of the year. Because, like, I was still mostly on lockdown this year. I didn't go anywhere. So, like, very few planned misses. But, there definitely were some days where I was just not up to it. And honestly, I feel like I made the right decisions on those days. Like, better off to not stream than to stream as like a zombie or just not be into it. Like, you guys deserve better. Or if I come down to visit, yeah, sure. My community grew too. Look at this. Look at this garbage. Kellerman. Kellerman is entirely responsible for this. This is a very cute emote, and I'm a little mad about it. The personal emote of mine that was the most used was Jim the Cool, which I agree with. That is a very good emote. And 3 global emotes were used more often than mine. Global emotes. 16 new subscribers, 75 new followers, huh? Feels like a low number. My follower count is still underneath 1,000. Not quite 1,000 yet. Thanks for helping out, Hamu. Which, with an average view count around probably 15 to 20, if I had to guess based on these numbers. That feels low, but like I don't really know what you can get out of this. Chronometrics is high was in your top 5. Yup. That sounds about right. Just shows that like they're there a lot, right? Like I respect that this means that Kellerman was just in my stream a lot, which honestly, that feels pretty good. I'm always happy to have people that want to come back. 9 gifted subs? Okay, that's a number. My top categories. You damn right Tunic was in my top categories. I loved They Are Billions so much. I'm in the top 4% of all its streamers. Am I? That doesn't feel like a particularly meaningful number. And then I have this thing. Which, cool. And I think that about does it. I don't think I had anything in particular that I additionally wanted to say past what we've done so far. And think I might just call it here. I think I'd probably just call it here. I think I'm good. I think this is good. I think this is probably as good an ending point for the stream as any. But yeah, that's a wrap, as they say. We did it. One more year in the books. Hoping for a better one next year. Yeah, so let's talk about what's coming up. So there's going to be more Blasphemous coming up. We're going to be doing that on Sunday. I have some more Stacklands scheduled. I think we're going to be playing some more Rogue Legacy and RimWorld coming up for this week. I think it is reasonable to expect that there will be more Peglin in the future. I want to play more Vault of the Void. I want to play more Monster Train. I want to play... I do want to go back to They Are Billions once I get over, like, losing. Maybe the best way to get over losing is to play survival mode instead of playing more campaign. So maybe that's a thing I do. I don't know if I'll go back to Across the Obelisk. I feel like it still has the same problems that it did before in terms of being a stream game. Like, I'm still having a lot of fun with it. I think I would still play Across the Obelisk offline, but I don't know that I want to bring it back to the stream. What's after Blasphemous? I don't know yet. I'll post some things on the Discord. We'll talk about it. But yeah, I don't remember. I don't know if there's anything in particular that I wanted to play, or if it's just like whatever's next on the list. I think it's probably just whatever's next on the list, which would be that one JRPG looking game. What is it, like Rainbow Step? Not Rainbow Step. Dragon something. The hell was this game? Frayne Dragon's Odyssey.